Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center Live overnight, September 10th, 2022. I am William from the Sci-Fi Center literally this time around because I was working late and did not feel like leaving early today. So the show is taking place from a better lit, hopefully better sounding location this time. I got Darth Vader and Aquaman here watching my back. I am here to shepherd you from September 11th to September 10th onward to September 11th. So for those of you who are on East Coast time, you guys are already there, so my job is pretty much already done. Basically, we're here to talk about some pop culture stuff, some of the stuff that's happened this weekend. D23, whether it was a letdown or not. Some of the Cavill news that was or wasn't supposed to happen today. Some of the trailers that came out of there. Just basically, a lot of it will be up to you guys. We'll take questions from the chat. Generally, this show is just really one I enjoy because we can just ease ourselves in anything we want to. I set the table with a couple of different topics that we can or don't have to discuss to a certain degree, but for the most part, this is where I like to engage with the people that are a part of the chat. A lot of times during the other shows, during the Game of Thrones streams and during the Friday stream, things are going by so fast, and I really don't have it's really hard for me until I get all my equipment set up to be able to focus on the chat as much as I can when we kind of take things as they come. So that is what we're going to do tonight, and we will have some people coming in later on as they get done with other streams to discuss some of the stuff that went on today. That's about it. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and bring in Thade. What's going on?
What's up? Not much.
Yeah, so this was D23. A lot of people were disappointed. A lot of expectations weren't met, to be honest with you. That had nothing to do with D23. It had nothing to do with Disney, in my opinion. That has to do with people's perception of what Marvel has become, to the point where I don't think they're ever going to reach that height that they reached between 2016 and 2019 with the height of the Infinity Saga. It's just like, it's like you can only create, electricity once. You can only invent something once, and after that, people move on. But their expectations don't. And I think a lot of every time Marvel does one of these things, people expect them to basically, break down every single thing that's going to happen down in the next 10 years, and that just wasn't the case. Another thing is that these events, when it comes to Comic-Con, D23, and all these in-person events, with the advent of YouTube, and I'll ask some of the guys who, if they get to come on later on, how much are these events really necessary? Is it necessary for me to pack a sweaty Hall H for some things you're going to get on YouTube? And I mean, just for, my alternative is that, I pay a buttload of money to go maybe get in so that I can see some exclusive stuff, when the vast majority of the people that are watching YouTube are probably going to be the ones that, are going to see your movie, that you really need to get hyped to about the movie. You're going to fit maybe 6,000 people in some of these places. But the millions of people that are watching these things on YouTube, on, Amazon, all these other outlets that you can put it on, I think we're kind of getting the shaft when it comes to that. Like they showed some exclusive footage from Wakanda Forever. Okay, great. I mean, you could multiply all the people in that room by 1,000, and you're still not going to have as many people that are watching it on streaming, watching it, or talking about it on YouTube. So I really, when it comes to these in-person things, when it comes to movies and streaming shows, I'm really not a fan of having that kind of stuff go down in person, because I just don't think that's not the arena. So a lot of that hype comes from the fact that we have built these things up into, these gladiator type events, and when they don't follow through because they're just not that, people get upset. And I'm including some people that were like, people who have lots and lots of subscribers and do this for a living were getting angry and bashing the event when, it was what it was. It was nothing more than I expected it. And some of the expectations for D23 were absolutely ludicrous. I mean, so I the second coming was basically advertised for D23, and if that anything short of the rapture, I guess, was going to be like I said, I blame the Oprah hype and the perception on the people whose job it is to overhype and perceive these things, unfortunately. So let's see who we got in the chat. So all right, Jared, how you doing? Chappie, nice to see you again. Marcus Cruz, William, Comic-Con 2023 will be the next bomb. Maybe so. I mean, I know a lot of people were How you doing, Brian? I know a lot of people were talking about, Fantastic Four and basically everything getting released. I'm like, they're not even anywhere near pre-production with some of these things, and so why would they have any of that stuff? I mean, and the way Marvel has their schedule laid out for like the next 1,000 years, you got plenty of time to get hyped up about this stuff. So like I said, with the advent of YouTube, I don't need Comic-Con, and I can get in. I don't need some of these other events that I can get into. I mean, I'm going to go to the Las Vegas Comic-Con that's here next week, but that's for the most part, that is about comics and toys. I don't have to camp outside or walk sideways to get past a bunch of people who aren't there for that genre. They're there for things that I can use the same medium I'm broadcasting you to you right now. I can see every damn one of those trailers. So they've created their own monster, and now people were disappointed. And I'm like, over what, man? Okay, so let's see. Marcus. All right. Cheese man. So people were upset that people are upset. I was just like, I didn't even watch it. Like I said, RJ was doing his stream live, and I pretty much watched him in the background on this TV here because I just, not only that, but the Marvel stuff that I like, I'm anticipating when it comes up, like the Werewolf by Night thing. I'll watch that when it comes on. I'm enjoying She-Hulk right now, but I don't get into the anticipation game when it comes to Marvel because I've been disappointed by half of the stuff they put out. I got hyped up for a lot of stuff and just got on that runway, and then when I sat my ass in front of the actual product itself, I was disappointed. So I've taken the practice of I will watch them as they come out. If they suck, I'll I can move on to something else. But I think what happens with people is they build up so much so much anticipation, and when these things come out and some of them are flat, they either don't want to admit that they sucked, or they're just their lives are ruined. I'm like, it's a TV show, so a lot of the hype engine when it comes to that is just like I said, I saw some trailers today and stuff I liked. Some of the stuff, the entire Friday, I could have done without when it comes to the D23. There was nothing on the Friday segment of D23 that I had any use for. So yeah, I mean, it didn't mean to me as much as it meant to a lot of different people. So yeah, but yeah, I was watching Twitter today, which I shouldn't have done. I should always keep to my rule of just staying off of Twitter. But I thought it was hilarious to see people, grown men, have meltdowns over what didn't happen. All right, Daryl Tyler. Hey, William, enjoyed the Echo panel along with Werewolf by Night. Didn't watch the Echo panel. I mean, like I said, I wasn't watching at that time. The Werewolf by Night trailer, and we're gonna play that when we get to the trailer parts, provided we don't get kicked off. That show looks awesome. That show looks like the first Hellboy. If you ever watched the opening scenes of the first Hellboy back in like 2004, I think it reminded me a lot of Del Toro.
Did you see Man Thing? I saw Man Thing.
Yeah, and I saw the trailer breakdown. This looks great. This looks great. Stuff like that, I'm down for.
It harkens back to the old Universal monster movies, and it's kind of campy, which is good because Halloween's a campy thing. So,
yeah. Oh, also, Secret Invasion. That's another thing I'm looking forward to because
Secret Invasion looks good.
No matter how they interpret that concept, I think it's going to do well. Skrulls are some of the most fascinating things that Marvel's ever put out in their history, and the Secret Invasion storyline was some of the best thing it's one of the few things that they put out from 2000 to 2010 that was any good. To be honest with you, that wasn't.
I just for a moment, William, wanted to speak to the whole idea of people getting let down, quote unquote, by what happened at D23. There's something that can be said for anticipation. And there's something that can be said for having patience and waiting for things to come. And I think that too much, and I think Brian said this before in the past. In fact, I think him and I have talked about it. People who are in the scooper in the scooper gig out here on YouTube, they really push the hype way too much. And I think I can lay a lot of the blame for people getting their expectations up too high on the people that are sitting here saying, "Oh, well, you're going to get this, and you're going to get that, and you're going to get this, and you're going to get that."
I can agree with that somewhat, but here's the thing that I always say when it comes.
I go further than that. I blame us.
Exactly. That was exactly where I was going. I
Sorry,
agree
man.
You're part of what you're saying is 100% true. But what have I always said when it comes to this stuff and how it's perceived? these scoopers and these people are just nuts and bolts. We're the transmission that allows them to drive. And
Oh well, yeah, and that's the thing.
But you're all right. But it's this the extension.
But that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say here, though, is like we ourselves, like Brian just said, we ourselves let the scoopers take us there. And you know, back when you said that, Brian, back when you said that to me months ago, remember we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
When you said that to me months ago, I started rethinking the way I look at things. Dude, I had absolutely no expectations going into D23 because I knew we were going to get what we were going to get, and whatever we were going to get was going to be interesting one way or the other. And
now,
I don't try to ride the hype train anymore.
Like I said, I paid attention as much. I literally watched RJ stream, and I had it on this TV in the background. I went about my day. I didn't expect anything from these things.
I talked to Chris about it earlier because he did a little stream, and I didn't see any of those trailers until I talked to Chris. I literally did not. I was going to watch it with Stella later this evening because she was interested in some of the stuff. But like, we watched the trailers, me and Stella did on Disney Plus. We looked at all the stuff that we were interested in, and we just went from there. You know?
Yeah, it's it's a different animal, and like I said, when it comes to these, you know, if I had been there and I had spent that kind of money to be there, and I traveled down to there, I would have been angry because it was a waste of time for me. But like I said, that's why I like things like fandom and stuff like that, because if it sucks, I traveled to the point as far as my keyboard went. I didn't burn any gas. I didn't get any hotel rooms. I didn't camp out anywhere. I didn't have to deal with a bunch of BS. I didn't have to cut out half the things I wanted to see and learn because I had to sit in line for all night. I didn't have to do anything like that. But when you invest that type of hype and time into it, then yeah, when it's not a home run every hitter, then people are like, ooh, you know. As it was, I saw the trailers. I enjoyed some of the trailers I saw. I wasn't expecting anything from Fantastic Four. We've been hearing all week about the whole Cavill thing, and when I had said I don't think he's going to be there, and if he was there, okay, he could have came out and announced, you know, I'm playing whoever, you know, whoever you wanted to put his name on, and I would have been like, okay, I'll see you in the next Superman movie, because I doubt I'll watch the Marvel movie that you're in unless it's good. You know, him being in a Marvel movie wasn't going to be what pushed me into a Marvel movie. I'm not one of the MILFs. The MILFs are going to go see him no matter what he does. But yeah, the MILFs. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, you know, the women who watch.
That's the thing, William.
It's
the
all
point.
right. If you can't have Cavill, you can have me. Yeah, I'm a prize.
Okay, or me.
Oh, kidding.
You know, any of us really. But like, no. What I was going to say though is like, continuing what I was saying a minute ago. This whole thing, like, you know, my dad used to have a saying. It was, you got the same clothes to get mad in, you got glad to get glad in, you got mad in. Okay. When you overhype yourself, you only have yourself to blame. Blaming these companies is not going to do you any good. And I've stopped with the expectations. Really, I'm going to watch the stuff when it comes out, the stuff that I'm interested in anyway. And beyond that, I'm not going to bother. But getting mad at Disney, getting mad at WB, getting mad at anybody is just ignorant, man.
Nah, and like I said, some of the stuff the narrative that went around, like I said, I was watching Dave's Film Junkie stream last night, and I was typing in, and the thing that I disagree with the most on there is that if he would have shown up at D23, that he would not be able to play, you know, other roles because it would seem like disloyal. And I'm like, this isn't 1988 South Central LA. We're not the Crips.
This also isn't 1940s old Hollywood, you know, where you had to stick to one studio either.
Yeah. And here's what I was trying to convey last night, and I try to convey this to everybody. Listen, the people, and they were asking me, well, how do you know I don't meet the majority of the population? When you see these guys on these YouTube bubbles, most of them don't either. And the one thing I do on a weekly basis is I feel we have, you know, a part of our relationships, we fill up cinemas with the general audience, you know, and sometimes we get emails saying when we do these comic book movies to purposely veer away from the comic book genre because they realize that the majority of the people that are going to make the financial backbone of these movies are not going to be us. That are not going to be YouTubers. They're not going to be Twitchers. They're not going to be Twitter people. They're going to be.
They're not going to be the fans. They're going to be just regular Joe Blow public.
So when you say, well, if him being Superman here and being somewhere else, I don't think it will work. Yeah, it will work because the general fan doesn't give a fuck. All right, they don't care.
No,
all right,
not at all.
The general fan, like I always say, the general fan comes up to me and says, "Nice Flash shirt." All right, so they're not going to care. They're going to go see him. And like I said, the MILFs make up so much of the percentage of not only Henry Cavill, but Jason Momoa. It doesn't matter what they do. Jason Momoa could be recasted as Weird Al, and Henry Cavill could be cast as Jimmy Hoffa. It doesn't matter. The MILFs are going to see them. And you know what else the MILFs are going to do? Because that M stands for something. They're going to bring their kids. So your money's made halfway already there.
And so, their kids are going to want merchandise. And your money is already made. Yeah,
if Henry Cavill came out and said, "I'm Mr. Fantastic" today, and he was never going to do that, but if he would have came out and said, "I'm Mr. Fantastic," I'd have clapped and I'd say, "Congratulations on getting your money. Now go get the other half and put on that red S." Because if he gets 25 or whatever million for doing one film, and there's another 25 million on the table, you don't have to be. You could not have graduated, got out of the 6th grade to know that. More money is better than less. All of the money is better than half of the money.
No. Sorry.
And I'm a dummy.
All of the money is always better than half of the money.
So to think that, he's done as Superman if he takes a Marvel War, what is wrong with people? What is wrong with you accountants?
They're homers. They're homers for DC, man.
I'm like, Danny Garcia is getting 10 to 20%. You think she's going to turn down another Superman role because he plays Captain Britain? No. Like, I listen to these people. I'm like, what's wrong with you guys?
That's the thing. But look, I'm speaking from a position of looking at it from both sides. Okay. I like you, William, I talk to Joe Blow Public just about every day. And, and I also talk to fanboys, obviously, because we're sitting on a panel talking about this stuff. I think that no way, man. But I think I think the large amount of fanboys think they have the corner on the market and they're the ones that drive the money, and they're not.
Yeah, I call it fanboy logic, and trust me, I'm a fanboy. But here's the thing, and here's the truth.
Me too.
If I gear my store towards the hardcore guys like me, I won't be here next week. These lights won't be on.
No.
These lights won't be on. I won't be able to get into my building because when you can't pay rent, they put this pink sticker and they change your locks. So if I use fanboy logic to apply it to business, I'm done. So
see, that's one of the most infuriating things about having these conversations on a nightly basis. It's that, we're talking to fanboys, but we clearly ignore most of the people who are going to spend the money to go see this movie, which is the normies. And I am one of those people that keep harping on it because, I believe that, fanboys are ignorant of such things. And I understand, depends on what the fandom is, really. I mean,
okay. So, places like Watch Mojo that talk about movies, guys like Cody Leach, guys like James A. Janice over at Dead Meat. You know why they make money and they have barely any drama? It's because they're talking to everybody. They're not just focusing on a single, that's funny, but they're not just focusing on a single group of people. And I think you're right, Brian. I think we don't put ourselves out there enough. What I mean by that is I don't think that we
not put ourselves out there, but open ourselves up to the possibility that other people have opinions about these movies that aren't fanboys.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I misspoke. I'm a little tired, but I think we need to widen our scope.
Yeah, and I try to do that. Everything I get on, I try to tell people, I'm like, and you guys, just like any of these things that when you sit and you bounce them off of each other, like we kind of do, but we have an opening to it. Then the opinion is going to be the same. And when I watch some of these streams, and like I said, the world's going to end if Cavill signs and does anything else. I'm like, have you ever heard of a professional scheduler and a production assistant and a personal assistant? They all get together at a coffee shop and they schedule these things so that they can make it happen because nobody wants to give up the money. The two companies that want Cavill, which would be Warner Brothers and Disney are not. They're going to want that attraction, so automatically they're in the game. So they'll make it happen. The agents are going to make it happen. The performer is who's pressing 40 and who might only have 14, 15 years of looking like he does. Who knows? Is going to want to make all that money now because you never know what's going to happen with you. So yeah, business will get done. I think, and like I said, I'm not making fun of fanboys because I'm one of them. But people got to understand.
I'm not. I'm just saying we need to be more open-minded.
Business. I always say this: business will get done. All right. Like when they talk about this, oh well, WB is burning the bridges and all that. Fuck, come on, are you serious? Listen, bank accounts don't recognize this petty shit that people get caught up under. All right, just like those two guys, and I loved one of those two guys from the Batgirl thing. When they were asked, "Would you work with this company again if you got another shot?" And they said, "Yes." Business will get done. The world revolves. But once we get caught up, and like I said, I'm kind of in the two universes here because I am a fanboy, but at the same time, this little machine here that takes money and helps keep like the lights on and helps keep me here. It has to be attended to as well. So
and that's why I like your perspective on it, William, because you are a businessman. You do see both worlds. Yeah, just like Brian, we all understand the business world. We all understand where the real money comes from.
And when we go to these theaters, like I said, every week we're doing some type of movie, or most of the weeks we're doing some type of movie. We get our tickets, we give them away. I think you guys have seen some of the promos that we've done. I put them in some of our Twitter groups just to show you some of the stuff we had. I still got stuff left over from Justice League, including this stuff here. So what we do, and I just don't market to the people who come into the store and the people who are like-minded to me. Our job, basically, when we do these promotions, is to get the general audience and try to get as far away from our spirit as possible, because that's who's going to come into the movies. And not only do we just don't hand out the tickets, we ask them questions when they come down here. What are they most anticipating about these films? And then when they leave, we're out there with the production companies and we're asking them what they thought of the movie. For everybody who thinks they know, what's going on with Batman and how the fans are going to perceive Batman and that it's this and that, I had enough people to where I could not clearly walk out of the tunnel in the theater, stopping me, asking me questions that, who is that Batman? I don't remember that. Wasn't it Ben Affleck? And it wasn't just 6 or 7 people. It was double-digit people that were like, who is this? They weren't paying attention to the media. They weren't paying attention to Twitter. They weren't getting caught up in the Battinson and all that madness. The last Batman movie that they had seen had Ben Affleck in it. So
the only reason there's drama is because we ran out of things to fight together. So we started fighting each other.
Yeah, and the general guy's like, the general guy's like, I don't know.
One of the things that aggravates me the most in this whole situation that we find ourselves in is hearing people talk about the culture war this, the culture war that. There is no culture war. Okay?
Oh, there is. There is.
There is, but when it comes to pop culture, it really doesn't matter because everybody ignores all that anyway. Like I'm saying, when you get to the like the whole Ezra thing, I laugh every time. That's why I don't talk about it in detail that much, because I know it's not going to matter when the movie comes out. Like I tell you, nobody cares about what's going on. They don't have that connection. So when we're prepping for these movies, we're not the demo. When they spend the money to advertise these movies and do the marketing of these movies, guys like me, we're not the demo. They already have us. One way or another, hate or love, they have us. They're trying to appeal to MILF. They're trying to appeal to Joe Average and the other 98% of the population that is going to make up the backbone of these movies. Most of them don't know what's going on with Henry Cavill. They just know it's been too long since they've seen him as Superman, and they know that he played the most, one of those famous superheroes in the world. A lot of them don't even know who people like Hamada and Zaslav. Those people could come sit on their lap in the damn cinema, and they're not going to know who they are. We do, because we hit our heads against the wall every day.
We fellatiate them on a nightly basis.
Yeah, we make them more famous than they really are.
Whether we like them or hate them,
Brian,
just kind of.
Brian, you're in a rare mood tonight, buddy. I like it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
He's using stuff that's going to get us demonetized.
Cheers.
That's okay. Enoch should forgive you.
I didn't use dirty words. I used
kidding.
big words to make myself sound smart and
Dude,
not get anybody in trouble.
I got asked last night. I got asked last night not to use big words, so I have to wait. I have to stop now.
Never let a man tell you can't use big words. Okay.
RJ didn't understand a word I used last night, and he was like, "I don't even know what that word means," and I was like,
"Look it up,
and?
motherfucker." That's when you look at him and say, "Google it, bitch." Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So John,
Sorry, love you, RJ.
Penn Bagley, Jamie Dornan, Glenn Howerton are not the MCU Reed Richards actor. None of them. Yeah, they had all these names that were coming out, and I'm like, you know what? Like I said, Disney didn't do that.
And
I mean,
what I was saying about the culture war thing earlier, I didn't actually get to finish my thought on that. Maybe amongst
mine. That's why. But go ahead.
Maybe amongst us, you know, in the fandom, there's a culture war, but the general population doesn't care.
Yeah.
Okay, the things we care about, the general public doesn't give a fuck about.
No, you're not entirely wrong, but the problem is yes, the general public, I feel, is starting to catch on a little bit.
Yeah, and you know what most of the general public is saying? Most of the general public is going, why are we fighting over this? Like, I have seen more people push back against it than for it.
Yeah, they don't know the details, but they know about us, unfortunately. And they know about us because we fed into idiots like these people who write these articles. We basically given them fuel, and then that's our bridge to the general audience.
Well, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard when like 90% of the videos or the panels that we're on a nightly basis revolve around scoops.
Yeah.
Scoops, and then retweet and other YouTubers, which is something I'll never do. I will never. I know other people that's their thing, but
that's their bread and butter.
Why do you?
How else do you get your news? No, I'm just kidding.
You know, I mean, like these YouTubers have hundreds of thousands of followers. They don't need your help. You know what I mean? And
fourth, by the way, fourth 1000, I respectfully disagree with you.
What is he saying?
Oh, he's talking about politics in culture. Politics is in everything. Fourth, that's just a thing.
No,
politics exists in all things. Politics exists in all things, in all aspects of society. It's not a culture war. It's just fact. Game of Thrones, Dune, Star Wars, all of it's political, and all of it's always been political. And people who say Star Trek was never political, yes, it has always been political.
Always.
There's politics in every aspect of your life. That's because we as humans have to always look at the negative. We always want to argue over something because debate is a thing in our species.
Well, you have people who can't make a living without doing it that way too. YouTube
gets the blood going. You know.
Yeah, if they don't do that,
nobody sabotaged our entertainment. It wasn't sabotage. It's just a thing. It's there. It's not sabotage. It's fact.
It's always been there. The problem is people are starting to notice. That's the difference.
And the reason why people are starting to notice is because now we have this special little thing called social media.
Of course.
For example, 20 years ago when Buffy the Vampire Slayer was on, in the 4th season, Willow Rosenberg, Buffy's best friend, decided not only was she Jewish, not only was she a witch, but she decided she was gay. 20 years ago, that was not made a big deal. If they did that show right now and made that character, that would get pushed higher. And the reason is 20 years ago, social media was different.
Jadzia Dax would be the wokest character in television.
Oh, yes, and obviously.
She was my favorite character on Deep Space Nine. So wrap your brain around that.
The moment she said she was Curzon Dax and had his memories,
old man,
people would have lost their damn minds.
What did Cisco call her the whole time on the show?
Old man.
Old man.
Always old man.
Like, come on, dude. See, that's why I disagree wholeheartedly with what Ira Stephen Bear was saying in the documentary about how they didn't check all the boxes for Deep Space Nine. It's like bullshit. You guys did. Don't beat yourself up over it. Don't try to score world points.
Yeah, especially with the time that they were released.
In the 90s. Come on, man.
1992 to 1999 is when that show ran.
Well, do you remember when Ellen DeGeneres, that whole kerfuffle back in the day? Like,
do you remember when Roseanne Barr kissed somebody? What's her name? Oh God, what? Mariel Hemingway. It was Mariel Hemingway on the Roseanne show. Mariel Hemingway kissed Roseanne in that episode. I remember I saw it on one magazine and it got briefly mentioned in the media. Now, if that happened, both sides would be throwing fits and saying something. One side would be saying, oh, this is a great thing. This is so wonderful. And the other side would be going, oh, my God, don't do that. Don't ever. Oh, my God. Everybody wants to make things a big deal right now. And again, I respectfully disagree, Fourth.
It goes back to the beginning. You can't. These people don't have any power unless you give it to them. You know, these guys that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on YouTube and pushing buttons don't have any ammo unless you give it to them. There are so many people's streams that I just don't watch because I know that that's all that they're doing. They're not bringing anything to the table as far as furthering any content. I can talk about Star Trek with anybody in this world, and I can further a conversation, and both of us can leave better for the conversation we have. But we have a lot of people who would basically would rather set the conversation on fire because they got to pay, you know, their mortgage with YouTube money. You know, they have to supplement their income, and you know what? Peace doesn't sell. And
anger sells. Yeah, anger sells. Outrage sells.
Best, man. Peace sells, but who's buying?
Yeah. And unfortunately, YouTube, and since YouTube is such a finite, as many people that watch YouTube and are on Twitter and all these things, they are a very finite percentage of the population. And when you have such a finite percentage of the population, sometimes you bounce bad ideas off of people with other bad ideas. And that's why I always say whenever I'm on these streams, I don't get on a stream unless I can bring a different point of view other than the one that's being bounced around in a very tight circle. I just try not to get on, you know.
And the real unfortunate thing about this whole quote unquote culture war is if it all went away tomorrow, if for some reason some miracle happened and everybody stopped arguing, there are people that are so ingrained and so in deep in this and believe it so much that they would have PTSD if it wasn't there anymore.
But they just have to find a way to make money. I mean, starting a fight is easy. I mean, having I'm not even talking about the people who are making money on it, William. I'm talking about the ones that are caught up in it because of the people that are making money off of it. Well, one can't.
If it all went away, true, but I'm saying if it all went away tomorrow, if the grift went away tomorrow, these people that have been paying those people to grift them would sit here and have PTSD over not being able to fight this culture war.
The grift's been around since the Romans. It's just
it's a virus, man. It's a virus, and the only thing that makes it more pertinent now than it ever has been was because we can do things like this. We can get on Twitter and complain all day. You know,
still though, I have never, and I'm never going to watch some of these streams.
Talking about politics. I'm gonna start spouting off right-wing talking points.
No, I'm not even paying attention to it. They're having their own discussion.
Don't do that, Brian. Don't do that.
I know. Don't get us canceled, guys. Come on now.
No, the grift has been there since.
I'm not.
It's just you got to be smarter. You know, the people have to be smarter.
But you get what I'm saying about social media makes it worse. Yeah. It always has been.
All right.
Cons
and marks, guys. Yeah, they've been around forever. All right. So as far as D23 goes, some of the good things that did come out of it. I am going to bring up some of the trailers that did come out of it that I thought were productive. That, like I said, I watched from the comfort of Las Vegas here, and I'm not angry because I didn't invest into going down there and being part of the scam. So
I was like Towley, dude. I was like, I don't even know what's going on, man.
You know, and it was cool. Like I said,
know what's going on, man.
All right, so let's start with the Werewolf.
Don't forget your tail.
I mean, we got kicked off, but Marvel usually doesn't kick off or demonetize or do anything like that.
No, they don't.
So here
they like it when people talk about their stuff, unlike other companies.
Yeah, which is complete. Here we go.
Free advertising. Come on now,
dude.
guys.
Have you noticed this is just like the old special presentations from back in the 80s? Like this has a whole 70s and 80s aesthetic. That little thing right there.
This Halloween, you can't escape the shock, the terror of Werewolf by Night.
Tonight, it is every hunter for themselves.
Good luck. I'll be rotting for you.
But one of you is a monster, masquerading as one of our own. I can't wait to find out what breed of evil you are.
Hey, William, you realize here in a minute you see Elsa Bloodstone, right?
Yeah.
You wanna see this, darling?
Please don't do this. Death is coming for you! Werewolf by night.
Elsa.
By night.
I absolutely cannot wait.
That looks so good.
For that to come through. So I am. That was one of the things that was on there today that I was like, I'm in.
I'm even enjoying the fact that it's going to be in black and white.
The black and white thing reminds me of there was that movie that came out a year ago that got nominated for Academy Awards that was in black and white with the why is it escaping me? It got nominated. It was
I was about to say something mean. I'm good.
Shut up, man. I'll think about it, but yeah, it reminded me of that. But the show looks great. It hits. I like the fact that they're doing something different. There's a lot of ways you could have taken Werewolf by Night, and they took it in a direction that I was not expecting. And I like the fact that I'm seeing Man-Thing, which is one of the most underused characters that's ever graced the pages of comic books. Even though he's had several of his own series, he's usually been used to promote other characters, which he's been using. He's being used here for now. He's basically a guest for a side, character. But I still like getting, if you can get the Man-Thing, because he's very limited as far as what he can do as far as driving a story goes. It's usually everything around him that drives the story. But I'm happy to see the Man-Thing on there. It has that kind of Carnival feel to it. So I'm looking forward to this. And like I said, this is something, they gave me today that I was satisfied with. I didn't care about Fantastic Four because it's 1,000 years before Fantastic Four comes out. This is coming out in Halloween. This is coming out next month. So I'm on board. And that's the kind of hype I needed when it comes to Marvel. So what did you guys think?
It looks pretty good, man.
Hold on one at a time. Go
I'm
ahead.
looking forward to it.
Go first, Brian, and then you go update.
Well, I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. It's once again, I gave up on having expectations for these shows, so it's like, bring it on. Let's go. I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Dave?
I second what Brian just said. If the most freeing thing that I've ever done when it comes to these properties is, first of all, not to expect too much, not to worry about what a character in a TV show says, and to not have too many expectations. And God, that is such a freeing thing. I can actually sit and enjoy something without having to worry about what it upsets or who it upsets. I kind of take things myself. I kind of take things at, I go with my own opinion on it. If I like it, I like it. If I don't like it, I'll say I don't like it, but I'm not going to tell somebody else not to like it. And I'm not going to try to convince somebody otherwise if they do.
One clear thing I've always liked about Marvel in general, even if I don't like about half the content that they put out, is they don't give a rat's ass what you think either. They're going to tell their story their way, and they're going to call you on it, whether you want to see it or not. If you want to watch it, you watch it. If you don't, they're betting on that you will, and they're not hindered. Like doing this right here, what you see there, this is a risky concept to approach an IP with, and I'm happy that they're willing to go outside the box. I had the black and white thing in this era. The way that it looks like the story's going to roll out, I'm all for it. And like I said, the one thing about Marvel and the people who run their company, they do not care about the whining. They put out Thor: Dark World, and people, didn't accept that as much as they did the other one. Guess what? That didn't stop them from making another Thor movie. And same thing with the Eternals. It wasn't universally praised. Guess what? You're going to see the Eternals again, and you're going to see them everywhere else. When it comes to things like Werewolf by Night, you can clearly see that they are determined to tell their story, and they're betting that you're going to buy in regardless. They don't let the fandom. We fans are part of this process, but by the time it gets in our lap, all the investment, all the money, all the risk have already been taken before we subscribe with our little $12 or $14 or whatever. So I'm glad that they're taking a risk on certain characters like this. I'm glad they're even doing things like Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night. These are comic books that are like, as soon as you see a #1 issue of these comics, you know, okay, how many issues is it going to last? It's going to get canceled. It's very hard to craft stories around these characters, and that's why they don't last that long, and that's why they don't have an appeal outside of being guest characters. So for them to even take a flyer on some of these characters that they've taken, you know, it's different when you're doing a Loki, because everybody knows Loki from the Avengers, everybody knows Loki in general from Thor. But it's different when you're talking about taking a risk on Werewolf by Night or Man Thing or, you know, Bloodstone. I mean, these are characters that just, you know, I applaud the risk. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I was going to say, here's the thing. Once we started getting into these phases, you can consider me the biggest normie of them all because I've never picked up a single comic book. So I don't know what to expect from the source material. I don't know what to expect from anything. So as far as like these shows go, like I have no basis of comparison. So I can't be like, oh, well, Moon Knight went away from this, and this. But the thing is I would have never heard of Moon Knight, you know, had they not made the show. And I really enjoyed it. I absolutely loved Moon Knight. Like,
and that's why I envy
kind of
you.
Confusing, but
that's why I envy you the ability that you have to do that, because I have read these comic books. And the thing is I don't let it
yourself from the source material.
Oh, I can now. But back when I was a part of the Fandom Menace, I couldn't.
See, I always could. And
that was the biggest problem. Are you married to the EU? And I'm talking about Star Wars. This is how I judge people for
no,
Menace
not anymore.
Adjacent. Okay. So now if you hold EU as sacrosanct, and if you know you were expecting the EU for Star Wars, you're out of your effing mind. Okay.
Oh, I know.
There's no way
in
hell they could put that on celluloid for anybody.
And the thing is that you know, George Lucas had to okay every one of those books, but he always told those authors that if any media I make, movie, television show, whatever, contradicts something in the book that I just okayed for you to write, you're considered C canon. You know, my word overwrites everything.
Ridiculously over stupid. Like, I mean, come on now. That's what was so convoluted about it all. Like, oh, we got G canon, which is George approved, and then we got C canon, which is, you know, adjacent.
Yeah. Well, no, the best thing the thing that I like about it, okay, because I'm not at all like stuck on the EU. I mean, I love a lot of those books. I love those stories, but I don't have to have them to have fun with Star Wars. In fact, a lot of what I saw today on the Star Wars panel was really, really good. I've enjoyed Star Wars. I enjoyed Obi-Wan. I enjoyed every moment of every one of those shows that I've watched and or discussed with people. And it's because I can allow myself to divorce from all of that in the past. This is a brand new day, man. This is Disney.
I think that's what separates the fandom from the Fandom Menace.
And it is
your ability to divorce yourself from that quote unquote source material, because it's really not, because a lot of it contradicts itself. And
well, yeah, a lot of different writers of that same character could contradict themselves. So there's not even a real hardcore basis of the source material. I mean, just X-Men alone, outside of Chris Claremont, you've had 5 different people do it 5 different ways. So by the time it reaches the movie, it's like a composite, you know, meatball of what, you know, they've seen. So it's really,
but an interesting thing that Disney Star Wars has been doing is some of that EU stuff that I loved, they're bringing it back in slow.
They're incorporating it, but they're doing it right.
Yeah, they're doing it where it fits for them, and that's perfectly okay. In fact, I prefer it that way.
Yes.
Look,
I would like to be seriously though, like I didn't mean to interrupt, but like if you could just sit back, relax, and have somebody tell you a story, isn't that what it's all about? Like we shouldn't,
that's what it's supposed to be about.
Dictate the story to anybody. Because last time I checked, I sell auto parts. I'm not a writer.
Yeah. The moment that people started the moment that people started screaming and crying about canon is where we failed. Okay.
Well, here's
Thank
the
you,
thing now.
Doomcock. Oh, I mean, not you, but I'm just saying, like, that was what kind of broke. That's what broke my conditioning.
And
was
that's
when
where
Doomcock ranted about
Marvel
canon.
fixes the problem because they do what they do, period.
He was going on about, well, see, the thing is they've established their own canon.
Yeah, they did.
And they've
And
done
see,
it
that's the thing.
with the comic
Go ahead,
books
Brian. I'm
as
sorry.
support. Well, they've done it with the comic books as support. So, like, they
Yeah.
did exactly what Star Wars is doing right now, which is taking elements from the popular material and then incorporating it into their television, like Marvel.
Well, for
If you're
example,
expecting
Brian,
to see like a specific story run, you're probably not going to see it.
well, like Brian, like you and I have talked about when we talk about Star Trek on your show. You know, all of these people whining and crying during Strange New Worlds about, oh, it doesn't fit canon. This doesn't. And I could name a particular Australian YouTuber that really just aggravated the hell out of me through the whole run of Strange New Worlds. But if you're sitting here and whining and crying about, well, that's not canon to the original show wasn't even canon.
No,
Like,
it was all
it
over the place. It contradicted itself so bad. And
To-
then
and-
Next
and-
Generation
and-
did the same thing.
Right. I mean, there's been so much time travel in those shows. I'm surprised, you know,
Hell,
we
the
don't know
movies
which end is
contradict
up.
Each other, like the movies contradict the TV show. Walter Koenig, he knew he wasn't in that episode, but he said it anyways.
Yeah.
And when did he meet Khan? Hey, real quick,
Yeah,
Marcus
exactly.
Cruz, Justin Cavalier said we're not getting X-Men movie, an X-Men movie for a long time. You know what? When it comes to the X-Men, I don't see where they make sense in the next couple of years.
Well,
I know
see,
we're going
here's
to
the thing.
get them.
I think we're gonna get them sprinkled in.
How are you?
Hey, I'm
So
all
We
right.
are.
An X-Men is gonna be like an Avengers level movie.
Yeah.
It will,
And that's how they should do it. That's how they should do it. Slowly introduce mutants into the landscape, and then give us that ensemble movie. Then give us that X-Men movie or X-Force or Excalibur or whatever. That's when you bring those teams out, when you've already started introducing those characters, and they've done that. They introduced Kamala Khan as a mutant. Now I find out that Sabra, who is also a mutant, is coming in Captain America: New World Order.
Oh, there
You know, and this is good.
here's a problem though and I agree with them taking their time with X-Men, but it is a different way of storytelling that they've done before. I wouldn't expect to see the X-Men for another 4 to 6 years, to be honest with you, as far as a team. Like you said, you may see, you know, mutants introduced in general, but as far as the genesis of the team and everything else, I hear some of these guys talking like they expect to be crapped out with Wolverine, you know, leading the team or something automatically. And I'm like, wait a minute. By the time Wolverine became an X-Men, they were well into their careers, and they were replacing an original group of X-Men. So I don't know. I'm going to let the storyteller tell me how the X-Men are getting rolled out, but I already see the forecasting and the fan casting when it comes to this is who should play this is how they should do it. And I think they've gotten themselves into a pickle where they're not going to be able to please anybody anymore. It's not like 2013 to 2019 where everything they crapped gold. It was platinum. I mean, they could squat down on your lawn and crap it out. People were going to pick it up and say, oh my God, thank you for crapping this out. I think because the fans have gotten so far ahead of things now, because we're done with this big giant storyline and we're building the small blocks to another one, I think that the fans' minds are moving faster than the story. And I think that's going to be a problem that they haven't had to deal with in the previous generations of Marvel.
Well, that's the thing too. Also, another thing that it's a pet peeve of mine. People that scream it's bad writing, and then other people ape that because somebody said it. You realize your opinion of how a thing is written, your opinion of how a thing looks, your opinion of how a story is told is subjective to you. Everyone has their own perception. At least you should follow your own perception. You shouldn't let your opinion be colored by anybody else. And the thing is too many times with these YouTubers and some of the people in the chat, and I hate to disagree with you guys, but writing is subjective. And what your opinion, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Okay? You may not like the way a thing is written, but that doesn't mean it's written badly. It's just written badly in your opinion. And that's okay. You're allowed to have your opinion, but you're not, it's not right, though, to demand other people to have your opinion.
Hey, Anthony,
Okay.
I agree with you in most part, 99.9% of this. All right, so I'm going to read what you said. Yeah, you can criticize stuff without being a professional in the profession. And that's what I agree. I can't talk tonight. If I go out to eat and the food's terrible, I can say it. You know, I don't have to be a cook. Here's the thing where I 100%, because you are the consumer, and the consumer is a very important part about that. And they also have a choice of to eat a certain type of food that a professional might know. Like if you're a Chinese food chef, and now that's just preference. Where I will defer to that profession is that when it comes to the laying out of the story, whenever we hear about certain elements of the story, whether they get leaked out or whether it's a trailer or something like that, we don't know what the full breadth of what that storyteller is telling until he tells his story. And I think a lot of people, and I'm not accusing you of this, Anthony, a lot of people see the bits and pieces and the breadcrumbs, and they try to make a whole loaf of bread out of that when the storyteller has not given you the story yet. So when we see a trailer, and I've seen movies get destroyed by this before they're even released, because something in the trailer or something got leaked, they decided they're going to destroy the movie, whether it was a good movie or not. It's been crapped on before. Oh, that looks horrible. I can't believe that they're doing this. I'm not doing that. Instead of letting the storyteller lead you along the path, you want to, not you, Anthony, and not you guys on the panel, but the general, the general geek wants to push the storyteller off of the track, take the baton, and run to nowhere. The general person that's not writing the story doesn't know where he's going. The storyteller does. That's why I always defer to the storyteller. Now, if the storyteller tells a shitty story, then yeah, it's different. But what I'm talking about, my pet peeve, is where we attack and sink a ship before it even gets out of the dock.
Exactly.
That's where
People don't watch
right.
movies. People don't watch movies anymore just to watch a movie. People automatically have decided what a movie or a TV show or a piece of media is before they even see it. And that's what I fight against. I let the media itself speak for itself. If I go to a movie and it sucks, then I'm just never going to watch it again. But if you like the same movie I think is horrible, William, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm just going to simply look at you and go, you know what? That wasn't for me.
All right, we're going to go
and
to
I think that
another trailer here the one I'm really looking forward to probably more than anything else. And it's the only thing that I've heard talk about that, like, I've been hearing about Secret Wars. It's not happening for another 3 or 4 years. I've been hearing about Secret Wars since I could walk. It seems like, and that's more fan fiction as far as, like, yes, it's been announced now, but they've been talking about it for 3 years. So I put that out of my brain. But Secret Invasion is something that's actually happened, something that was actually in production, and they actually had breadcrumbs leading to it. And let's go ahead and watch the trailer for it.
Can I say one more thing before you start this trailer?
Yeah.
A lot of what I saw for Marvel from D23 is not stuff I'm exactly excited about, except for Werewolf by Night. All of this, like, spy thriller stuff, I mean, I'll watch it and I hope it's good, but I'm not really, like, hyped for it, in my own opinion. I don't like the spy thriller aspect of Marvel.
I love it.
But I'm willing to allow you your opinion and for you to say this is what you're looking forward to, because I appreciate that fact.
Because not only
it may not be
thriller, it's spy thriller with shape-shifting aliens. I mean, that's just
Well, no, this looked interesting to me, but stuff like Thunderbolts, Captain America: New World Order, it's just not my cup of tea, man. I really wasn't fond of Black Widow, but I know lots of people who liked it.
Yeah. See, and the way things are being let out on the face of them, I have no use for some of this stuff. But as it rolls out and I see where it fits with the story that they're telling me, I'm a little bit more acceptable. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play, and let's enjoy some Samuel L. Jackson.
Pardon.
For years, you've been avoiding Earth. I have called for your help plenty of other times, and you've been pretty content to let those calls go straight to voicemail.
Yeah, well, This is different. How much do you know about your security detail?
What do you mean, how much do I know about him?
Fury? We gotta be very careful now.
You're in no shape for this fight that lies before us.
This is just the beginning.
This is my war alone. And I'm the last person standing between them and what they really want. And what is that?
Tell me what it was. Don't leave me hanging. Tell me what it was they want. Damn it. See, oh, that's perfect. I cannot.
Hey, William.
love
So how long? So how long do you think that Fury's been gone? The real Fury, because
It's hard to say.
Colby Smulders' character implied it's been a long time.
It's hard to say because
Do you think?
if you've ever read the original stuff, and I'm not saying that they're going to base it entirely on this, but the thing that made the original the Secret Invasion is such an intriguing storyline, some of the best stuff that they put out in that decade, was the fact that because of the nature of what the Skrulls were, you did not know how long. Like there were certain people that were getting killed, and you realize they'd been Skrulls for years. And when you go back and they go back to when they captured the Illuminati and they infiltrated, and they've been infiltrating over the decades. They had been infiltrating in, so you didn't know who was what and how long until you found out and killed them. And then they reverted back to their Skrull form. Like Elektra was a Skrull. I mean, there were so many people that were Skrulls. So many people that people thought were dead, and so many people that were being, that when you were reading their books for years, that person was a Skrull. So that's one of the things that is so intriguing about the storyline, is because it unsettles everything that you think you know about what you've been watching the last 10 years.
Yeah, because that indicates that a lot of things could happen. That indicates that Tony Stark that died may not have been Tony. That indicates that the Black Widow that sacrificed herself on the soul planet might not have been her.
No. Here's why. Good question, though. Good question that you picked that up. When they died in front of you, and when you
They
die
didn't
as a
change.
Skrull,
They didn't change.
change
Okay,
back.
yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, one of the things about a Skrull
I
is they
didn't
only have control over
think
their
about
physical form while their consciousness is still alive. So yeah, I thought about that too, but I'm like, damn it. Good point. I was gonna oppose that, but yeah, that's So I love the Skrulls.
But that's
what they bring in. Go ahead.
That's the thing, though. Like, it's already been. Talos was wearing Nick Fury's face for a little bit there. So I just I'm starting to wonder, maybe Fury's been gone this whole time. Like, maybe it wasn't Fury that brought together the Avengers.
It could be true. James Gunn for Thor. LOL. I know it's a joke. I don't think James Gunn is doing any more Marvel after Guardians of the Galaxy. I get the intention that he's a DC guy from here on out. I know he can do other work, but I just think he's mentally
he
is committed to DC.
Back.
Okay, am I freezing or are you freezing, Thade? Can you hear me, Brian?
The thing about multiverse retcon behind multi. Yeah, Brian, and he said, "Be right back."
Is it me or Brian? Or Brian is it me or Thade freezing?
Thade.
Okay, cool. All right, I do have to restart things, but yeah, this what do you think of Secret Wars? Or not Secret Wars? There I go. What do you think of Secret Invasion, Brian?
I mean, same as before. I'm just sitting back, eagerly looking forward to it, man.
Same here. But see, to me, this is a little bit more. This is a little bit more because I love the Skrulls, and I love it's everything I love. It's science fiction, it's intrigue, it's spy, it's political chess because it's all it's like they read my mind. It's like Pooh, Blood and Honey. Somebody else is reading my mind again and gives me the content I want. So I'm happy that this is coming out. And stuff like this is, I was okay with what they gave me today because it's stuff like this that's coming up soon, and I'm just all in for it. It's like, I love Skrull, and I like Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, I like Snakes on a Plane because of him, and without Samuel L. Jackson, that movie sucks. All right, the Deep Blue or whatever that was the shark movie.
Snakes on a Plane wouldn't have worked.
Yeah. I'm tired of these snakes on his mind. That line, nobody remembers that was a horrid movie with rubber snakes falling out of the suitcase storage compartment. Nobody remembers that. They just remember they remember Samuel L., man. And you're always
Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea was a wretched movie, except for the scene he
Horrible.
dies.
Except for the scene where Sam Jack gets eaten.
Yeah, he gives that little speech, and this goofy shark comes out and grabs him and slams him thing and swallows him. I'm like, this movie was horrible. Most shark movies suck, by the way. That movie sucked beyond just being a crappy shark movie. But it's a fun movie to watch, and it made more money than it should have because Samuel L. is in it. So, but now I've loved him as Nick Fury, though. I have loved him as Nick Fury. And the fact that he's as old as my dad, he looks very good to be in his 70s. And he's doing Nick Fury, and it's just been made so relevant. So I love what I'm about to see there. Here, let me go ahead into the chat and see if I know some of you guys are talking to all right, Anthony Cheeseman. At the end of the day, if you pay for a product, you have a right to judge it, even if you aren't in the field. Oh, once again, I 100% agree. But here's where I'll meet you halfway, Anthony. Once the product is done and it is sat in front of you, then I would want people to make an educated judgment on a final product. What I hate is when we get trailers or we get bits and pieces and people are ready to carve it up before the chefs come out with the whole menu.
They haven't even gotten into the writing phase. They just announced it, or there's rumors of it being announced, and people are already losing their minds. So it's like,
that. So you're 100% right. Like when these things come out and we get in there and we see it and we walk out of the theater and like, dude, that sucks. We don't have to be Spielberg. We don't have to be the director. We don't have to be I can tell you, dude, where's my car sucked without ever taking 1 second of film class.
And I would disagree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm about to eliminate you.
I'm about to go to bed soon anyway, so go ahead.
I can tell you that Highlander 2 is one of the worst movies I ever laid my eyes on, and I don't have to be a gaffer. I would agree.
I'd agree.
But while they were filming Highlander 2, and all I do is that we're filming a Highlander 2, when people jump on it and rip it apart at that point, then I'm wrong. But once I see that piece of shit of movie, and I'm like, I want to take my eyeballs out and throw them against the wall.
Just say my name, and I shall appear, Highlander.
Oh my god!
Ramirez.
You are right, Cheeseman. But to me, it's at what point in the game are we sitting in judgment? The final product, now it's in public domain. That writer, that artist, that director, they're big boys now. They've been put on their big boys pants, and now we get to make fun of them if it sucks, or praise it if we like it. But it's in the process of the storytelling is where we don't want to push that storyteller out of the way. That's just my opinion. I think that's where we do the damage. All right, let me hit up some of these real quick before you let Dave back in. Okay, I haven't watched Endgame or Infinity War, so I know nothing about Secret War. And you know what? To be honest with you, dude, I don't think you're going to need to. You can go back because that's a very big, significant part of that storyline. But I think you could watch this, and as long as you have a general understanding of what the characters are, I think you'd be just fine. To be honest with you, I think you'll want to go back and watch those movies once you start watching Secret Invasion. So let's see. 1,000. Are they bringing everybody back for Secret War? Hey, you never know. It all depends on. And like I said, the less I know about this, the more I'm intrigued about this. I think this is going to be great. I've wanted this. Like I said, the 2000s, from 2000 to 2010, weren't, in my opinion, a very good era. I mean, it was a holdover from the bad 90s. But because you had crap like Infinite Crisis, and then you led into the next decade with Rebirth, and and the believes that his comic book them right. A lot of its attributes owed to the 90s and the 2000s, and the 2000 teens never had a chance. And now we're in a situation where a certain pocket of characters have to, be relied on to sell 90% of the comic books. But Secret Invasion was an exception. Secret Invasion was one of the most fun storylines to be a part of, not only as a dealer, but as a reader. The covers, and I did this, I showed this a couple of months back. I showed you guys the covers of Secret Invasion. What they were doing is they would take classic covers, like the first appearance of Vision and Scarlet, Vision becoming an Avenger. They would show it, but he'd be a Skrull. They would show you, it would be Avenger #1 with Loki and the Founding Avengers on the cover, and it would be a mock-up, and instead it would be all Skrulls doing it. Thor during the Mystery number 85, when it's Thor and the Stone Men from Saturn, they're all Skrulls. So they would redo these classic covers, and they became collector's items. And once you got them, but at the same time, what they were trying to tell you by giving you those classic outlooks, what they were telling you that everything was fair game. We could go all the way back to the beginning of the Marvel Universe, and the Skrulls have been around for millions of years. At what point? And that's what the question was, and that's the question that Dave was asking, and it's a good question, is at what point did they invade? At what point did they infiltrate? And I think that's the most intriguing question, because, yes, it takes everything we know, and it turns it on its head. So I'm really looking, like I said, the less I know, the more I'm loving this. All right, let's look in some of the chat. Yeah, Wong. Wong is in it. I don't think you have to worry. Wong's in just about everything. Somebody said he was becoming the new Nick Fury, but Wong is a very entertaining character, though.
He is the Wongers.
All right, it's a variant of the character that Patrick Stewart and okay, so he must have answered the question and that I missed. All right, so Zack Snyder. Okay, yeah, nah. I mean, you know what? To be honest with you, and I love Taika Waititi. I love his stuff. What We Do in the Shadows is not a show I would usually watch, but I watch it because of his work on there.
It's hilarious.
Jojo Rabbit is stunning. I'm glad he walked away with an Oscar for that, for best screenplay. His Thor movies, I hate.
When Taika does his own stuff, Taika's great. When Taika does other people's franchises, not so much.
It's multiverse retcons. Yeah, we got to worry about that, and I hope that as we go on with Marvel and their and the way they do things. See, I call Marvel the MCU the Marvel Clutterverse, because there's just too much stuff in it, and there's too many directions it can go. So I always look for a little bit more organization when it comes to their stories, and like I said, I'm starting to see it a little bit more. There's still a lot of clutter in there. And when you looked at their board that they released at Comic-Con, there's still a lot of things clutter in there. But what I have to do in order not to burn myself out when it comes to Marvel is pick and choose where I want to get in. It's like a la carte for me. Some of these movies that they're putting out, I'm not going to watch. Unless we're promoting them, I'm not watching them. I will see them on Disney Plus. Most of these movies will not make the kind of money that would garner them staying in the theaters to make more money. So I am more than happy to see half the Marvel slate for the next 3 years on Disney Plus. So I mean, there's certain movies that I really, really want to see. Obviously, Wakanda Forever is on the top of the list. I think Wakanda Forever. Listen, I don't know if you guys can hear this. Can you hear that? It's some asshole. They're riding around on a motorcycle blasting music. It's kind of pointless, dude. You're on a motorcycle. Anyway, Wakanda Forever is one of those movies, and I think that it could be in contention for Academy Award. I think it could quite possibly, just from what I've seen and the regalness of that movie, it could possibly be the first comic book movie to win for best movie. And given what's been put out right now,
it's beautiful.
It looks everything. Yeah, you look at
gorgeous.
Your candidates. Yeah, everything all at once. I mean, there's a lot of movies out there competing, but there's no movie that I've seen out there right now that is overwhelming favorite. So if this is the year, if there's any year that a movie like Wakanda Forever, with its production value and with its majesty,
and I hate saying it, but a lot of what's driving Wakanda Forever, besides it looks great, is Chadwick Boseman's memory. and that's where that's why it's going to do well.
And even though the first movie made $1 billion with him, I think here's the thing though. I think a concentrated as black folks, we can kind of help push that movie over. I mean, I know we're only 14% of the population, but we don't have a lot. And when we can get a good movie like this, we go see it, and we go see it a lot. We go.
Of course.
Here's a problem when it comes to us, and this is why I support. I don't like all of Jordan Peele's movies, but Jordan Peele, and I know people say it doesn't matter if the director's black or white and all that. It sort of does, because your environment, depending on where you grew up, like Snoop Dogg, when he did his horror movies, he did his movies based on the kind of upbringing he had and the environment that was surrounded by him. And that is sometimes part of your movie making. And, we don't get to see that all the time. Every director brings a little bit of himself, his upbringing, and the environment that he's in into his movies. So every ethnic group, it's Dario Argento, all these guys, it does matter what kind of background and ethnic group that they come from. It doesn't exclude anybody, but you want that cornucopia. You want to see.
William, you bring up Jordan Peele. You bring up Jordan Peele, and I've always had this like sneaking thing in the back of my head that Jordan Peele reminds me a lot of M. Night Shyamalan, the movies that Jordan Peele makes.
They do. They're actually more frustrating than because I think Peele's movies are better until they reach a point where they start to fall apart. But when going back to when it comes to movies that have us in prominent characters, since we don't have any, even if I don't like 100% everything I see, sometimes I'm like, I need to encourage this, because I need us going out seeing. I need the general public, and I need these audiences and these producers and these film studios to know that, hey, we're out here. And there's certain types of movies that, we want to see. Like, if you're growing up in Harlem, or if you're growing up in South Central, it's a different. I love Friday the 13th, but guess what? You know what? If you grow up in the city, I grew up in Los Angeles, I'm fucking going camping, right? Jason would have to drag me out to the woods before he could ever kill me there. You know what?
Yeah, you were never. But that's the thing. That's the thing about those movies. You were never going to see Jason in the Hood.
Yeah, until it got number 10. But when I see people going out, in Jaws I grew up with was a staple of my childhood. I grew up in Los Angeles. I grew up near an ocean, and guess what? Even as a 5-6-year-old, I knew, hey, the best way to keep from that terror is not to go in there. Now, the abstract stuff like Michael Myers, all that's great. But like I said, every director that has ever made a movie, whether it's Francis Ford Coppola, whether it's Jordan Peele, whether it's Steven Spielberg, puts a little bit of their background and their heritage in that movie. You may not blatantly see it, but it's there. So when I see Wakanda Forever, and what I like about Wakanda Forever, not only is it a movie that is centered around people that look like me, but it's not the stereotypical things that a lot of times get pushed forward. You're talking about royalty. You're talking about not people in high tech. We're not talking about some of the stereotypes that get pushed. And even in some of the black maid movies, it kind of annoys me. But like I said, it presents us from a different point of view. And so I think Black Panther is going to do well. Even if Chadwick Boseman was in it, I think it was going to be $1 billion movie, because I think it really reached out, and not only.
But you do have to admit, though. You do have to admit, though, his death is driving this movie quite a bit. I mean,
it's driving it in a way that it wouldn't be driving it if he were alive. But I still think it's going to make 1.2. I still think Wakanda Forever was going to make 1.2, whether he was dead or alive.
Easily.
It's a different type of drive, though, unfortunately.
And I'm not downplaying it. I'm not downplaying it by saying that. I'm just saying,
yeah, it's just like the Crow. It's just like the Brandon Lee effect. But the thing about it is, like I said, I cannot wait for this movie. Even though I disagree with the creative decision that they made, you know what? I'm not the storyteller. At the end of the day, I am not the storyteller. So I'm going to let Ryan Coogler tell his story, and I think he's going to deliver a quality Academy Award contending movie. And I just from the scenes of it, it looks stunning. It looks like that. There's certain movies when I see the trailers for, I know that it's going to walk away with a statue one way or another. When I saw the Dark Knight trailer and I didn't even see Heath Ledger's face, and I heard his voice when he's like, "You've changed things. There's no going back now." And it was just all it was Kristen Bale riding around on the Bat cycle, but the overlay of Heath Ledger's voice, I'm like, this guy's going to win something for this. This movie's going to win a lot. And you just and when you saw Heath Ledger the first time you ever see him on the screen in Dark Knight, you understood that you were watching something special in your life. Like when you watched Raging Bull, for those of you who were old enough, when you watched The Godfather, or when you watched a movie that was released before, when I was watching Philadelphia, or when I was watching Forrest Gump, I knew I was watching something special that was going to get accolades when it was time for it to get accolades. So I was.
Of course.
And same thing with Dune. When Dune comes around, Dune is gonna do the same thing. So the only movie I didn't get that kind of vibe from is because it was Lord of the Rings, because I didn't connect with Lord of the Rings like the Academy did. But and it was weird for it to win. They gave that movie awards for all 3 movies, so I'm like, all right, fine. I guess Blade Runner 2049 when won its best visual effects for the one in 1982 that should have won it. So I'm okay with that. So let's jump into this chat real quick and see if I'm missing anything, because I know I am. All right, my bad. Secret Invasion. Matt William is right. They haven't done anything yet to indicate Secret Wars. Basically, they transport the hero. Yeah, the villain. Yeah, we're so far away from Secret Wars. I mean, when it happens, I'll do my backflip over it. But right now, I'm all about Secret Invasion. Like I said, I got the comics here. Right, a couple months ago, they came out with contemporary covers. And I think I showed them to you guys, the new covers, not the old one, but the new ones I had in the store, where each cover had a Skrull on it. Like Carnage had a Skrull on it. He was a Skrull. Captain America, they all were Skrulls. But it was celebrating the 15th anniversary of Secret Wars. Or Secret Invasion. And then here we go. We got the show. So I'm just excited about that. And like I said, there's not much about Marvel that I'm excited about, to be honest with you, because I think a lot of it is just clutter that I have to get through. Let's see everything everywhere. Yeah. I think that is that's definitely going to get nominated, and that's an underrated movie. Top Gun Maverick, Doctor Strange 2 has no chance. I'm sorry. It's not even a good movie on its own, to be honest with you. It's horribly edited. It's a fun Sam Raimi movie, but they took a Sam Raimi movie, in my opinion, and cut it up into what they needed it to be. You can clearly tell it's a Sam Raimi movie. And for what it was, it's fun, but it felt like it was a chopped up movie video. And I don't know. I mean, it's a whole multiverse. And then the way the characters are brought in just basically as video game villains to get knocked off like they did. And in ways that I don't think you could kill some of those characters, but they just did it for effect. But that's my opinion. Top Gun Maverick, there's 10 movies that get nominated. I don't think Top Gun Maverick's going to get nominated, but I would not be surprised. It just doesn't seem that kind of movie. There's not a lot of substance to Top Gun outside of the aerials and the drama that way. But you know what? I'm not on the Academy. I would love to see Tom Cruise, because if it wins for Best Movie, Tom Cruise is a producer. And he's been screwed out of Academy Awards for the last 40 years. He should have won for Born on the 4th of July. He should have won for Jerry Maguire. He should have. I mean, there's so many things that he should have been. Hell, Les Grossman, the guy he played in Tropic Thunder, was on screen longer than Hannibal Lecter was, and Anthony Hopkins won an Academy Award for that. And Robert Downey Jr. lost that year too, because they were both up against Heath Ledger. So yeah, sometimes it's just tough. But I think Tom Cruise he's one of my favorite actors. When I go see a Tom Cruise movie, I know when I lay down my hard-earned cash, he's giving me everything that I paid for and more. He's putting his body on the line at 60 to try to give me the best movie-going experience that he can. And not every actor or actress cares about that stuff. He's old school, and he does. So I would love to see Top Gun. At least be nominated. Not only one movie can win, but at least be nominated and be in the running. You know what I mean? All right. You know what? Okay. I disagree. I would go both ways for it. I wouldn't mind if they did a live action Akira or if they continued off the movie. And here's my one condition, though. It's got to be Denny. It's got to be Denny Villeneuve. It's got to be him. He's got it. The guy who gave me Blade Runner 2049. The guy who gave me this movie that makes me tear up is one of the greatest science fiction accomplishments of all time.
That would be awesome.
Okay. I don't want to see another. I can't think of another director that could do it. So I would agree with you there. If they can't get somebody that is of that ilk to do it, then don't do it. Then don't do it. I agree with you there. But if they can get Denny, do it, man. And he's young too, so he has time. He's not like Ridley Scott. And I'm not wishing. I'm wishing. Knock on wood. Please don't die, Ridley Scott. I mean, I know you're in your 80s, but hang in there, and he's in good health. So, but he's not 80. He has time to make these movies without having to worry about slowing down. You know what I mean? So, I think he's not even 50. I think he's. How old is Denis Villeneuve? 51, 52?
Denis Villeneuve, he's in his 50s, early 50s.
Yeah. Like, so he's young. So him. I can't think of another. Actually, you know what? The guy who did Parasite, even though it's not a movie I like of his, but he also did The Host, and he's also done other things. But for me, Denny, it's got to be Denny if you're going to do that. And I can't think of another guy right now, and I'm probably not being fair to some other creators, but then I could do it because he could do that world. He could do that world. He's proven that he can do that world. And he's proven that he can do the size and scope of that. Dune is a beautiful movie. Dune is a beautiful movie. Even the people who I took with us,
he's 54
years. How is he? 54.
He's 54.
He's got another 30 or 40 years of movie making to go. He's a baby by film standards goes.
Oh yeah.
So, but if you, Blade Runner 2049 and Dune. As are the two movies, and hell, even though Arrival, but I could clearly see him doing Akira. But like I said, I agree with you, Fourth. If we can't get somebody like that, then leave it alone because you're just gonna piss off people. All right, let's see what we got here.
I'm so looking forward to the second part of Dune,
and possibly the third. All right, Peele is more or less a hit to me. Nope. All right, so. Quality-wise, Nope is great. Cinematography is great. Character development is great. There were just too many things in Nope that led to nowhere. Spoiler alert. Sorry, it's been out for a while enough. What was the monkey? Dude, when you show me that monkey beating the hell out of people, and I'm like, okay, we have all 3Ds in here, and I'm not even in my seat. I'm not even reclined in my seat yet, and we already have William level violence that's necessary. All right, we have it, and I'm like, I'm going, where does this lead? And all throughout the movie, and when they finally explained to me where it led to, I'm like, that sucked. And then some of the stuff just didn't make sense. But once again, I was in the minority. People loved it, and quality wise, I thought it was great. Storyline. I think it has the same problem as the last 15 minutes of us did. It got you on a certain road, and then it explained its way down the drain. I'm like, why did you need to tell me certain things? There's certain things I didn't. And then same thing with that. And we compared him to M. Night Shyamalan, right? Signs had for me. Signs was 5 minutes away from being one of the great science fiction and horror mystery type movies of all time. When I saw the Kermit the Frog, Moss, Sleestack aliens, that just shot it to hell for me. I didn't need to see that. There are just certain things when you leave me on that terror that I just don't need to see, and they were never going to live up to the ride that they built you on. So it was better for them to just cut it out. The doppelgangers and us, I didn't need that long soliloquy and that little switcheroo at the end. I didn't need that. That movie was good. If I could cut out. The director's cut of that movie should be the cutting out of the last 15 minutes of it because it was stupid. But once again, he has not done. I mean, he won the Oscar for Get Out, which is another movie I thought was all right. I know that this guy is obvious. He's already great now, but I think he's destined to put together. There's a movie out there that he's going to put together all these elements that keep driving me crazy, and he's going to create the magna opus. He's going to create that one movie that I've been waiting for. He's flirting with it. He's got his John Carpenter's thing out there waiting. And I'm just waiting for it. He hasn't got there yet, but he's on his way.
The Jordan Peele thing that I like that he's done was the Twilight Zone seasons that he did for CBS.
Yeah, I remember those are on streaming, by the way. Paramount Plus, you should pay us. Okay, I understand this completely. At Fourth 1000, as a Black American, I don't feel connected to Wakanda Forever or any African nation movie. I just can't wait, and I 100% agree with you on that sense. And here's why I agree with you, but I still love the movies at the same time. Is obviously if we're Black Americans, we've had some shit that we've had to deal with, that our parents had to deal with, that our grandparents had to deal with. All right, we're embedded in this country's history different than an African nation is, especially an African nation like Wakanda, which is everything that we aspire to be here. There is no integrating into a Wakandan fabric. You were born Wakandan, you were Wakandan, you were born into that high society. Here, obviously, we've had issues to where we've had to fight and do a lot of bloodletting just to get on equal footing. And even now, I did not live my father's Black experience. I did not live my grandfather's Black experience. They compared to what they grew up in, I have it quite easy, even though we still have some shit we have to deal with. Compared to what my grandfather, who fought World War II in a segregated army, compared to what my grandfather or my father did, who fought in the Vietnam era in an army that wasn't segregated, but we're still going through the civil rights era. So what I went through by the time that I went and fought my war, we were in a totally integrated army. We were in a totally integrated society, but the American society still has issues. So when we see Wakanda, it is very unrelatable in that sense because it's a fantasy to us. If you're a Black American and you look how the stature of people of your skin color are being treated in Wakanda as kings and queens and princes, and even the lower people in there are all integrated in that society. And then you look at what we're going through here and what we've gone through here since we've been part of the country. We've been part of America since before there was a country. Black people have been part of the country. We fought in every war that America has fought. And yet you can kind of see the situation we're kind of in right now, to where we had even just within the last century having to sign civil rights bills, having to sign voter protection acts, having to sign things and cauterize things and go to the Supreme Court and dealing with things like the first Black president, the first Black woman. We're still dealing with a lot of firsts that an African nation like Wakanda, fantasy or not, is never going to have to deal with. So I feel you. I feel you 100%. But it's also why I enjoy this movie, because it does give young Black men, even if it's a fantasy, it gives them a vision of us that is not a stereotypical one that a lot of the times they see in all walks of life and all forms of entertainment. Even if it's not real, it at least gives you it shows us at the most real we could possibly be. It's just
It does something even better than that. It gives you hope.
Yeah. And even with Barack Obama, a lot of people can't relate to Barack Obama because the only 44 or 45 people 46 now have ever been president, period, Black, white, or another. But if you're a young Black man and you're aiming, if you aim to be what Barack Obama was, even if you miss, you're going to turn out to be a hell of a citizen, a hell of a person in general.
And
so
also,
I think it gives people aspirations. I think
not only does it give you hope, not only does it give you hope, but it gives you something to aspire to. It gives you something to look towards. It gives you something to build.
Yeah, 100%. We share a bloodline, but we do not share a culture. It's two different countries. Obviously, the heritage is there, the lineage is there, but obviously after a certain time, there's a different path that we're on. And like I said, I 100% agree with you on that. It's two different worlds, and one of them is being presented, the one that we're not living in right now. So I completely. Somebody asked why. I when he said that, when he typed that in there, I agree 100%. Even before I finished reading it, I understood where it was going. So thanks for even typing that in, dude, because that's very deep, and it's something that needed to be brought up. All right, so I thought I heard the next movie, Tom Cruise is going to space. Yeah, because he's ran out of shit to do. What else is there for Tom Cruise to do? So they can knock Cruise all they want about his Scientology and other things, but you got to give it to him for pushing limits. Yeah, you know what? And I've always said this over and over again. Tom Cruise could worship the goat god Baphomet. I wouldn't care. my connection to Tom Cruise is what he does when he presents to me on that screen. That is the only. I don't know Tom Cruise because of his religion. I know Tom Cruise because of his occupation. That leads directly into me taking money out of my pocket and going to see him. That is where my connection ends with Tom Cruise. What he does, as long as he's not breaking any laws and burying any bodies, I don't care if he and sacrificing anything. Don't be sacrificing nothing, you're living. But if he puts on a goat head and surrounds himself in a ring of fire, don't care. Don't care. But he's done right by me. I am a customer, and he's done right by me. And yes, he has pushed the limits to it's great.
I might give him the side eye, but I wouldn't say anything to him. Go ahead. You dance around in that goat head, King. Get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like Dragnet back in the 80s. All right, Chappie, so much for Henry Cavill showing up at D23. It was never going to happen. Like, people honestly freak out over nothing. Plus, Henry still wants to play. Yeah, and like I said, those rumors, I never, expected to. If he wasn't going to show up at Comic-Con, I damn sure he wasn't going to show up at D23. But like I was telling people before, even if he came on, he could come on the screen right now and come on Poindexter Lounge and Sci-Fi Center overnight and say, "Hey, William, Thade, I'm playing Professor X, or I'm playing Magneto, doesn't matter, insert character here." I would be like I said before, congratulations on that money. Now go get that other money from Warner Brothers. And like I said, the hyper fanboys are going to be like, "Oh, I can't do that." Their fans are not going to accept. No, the ones in the 3% bubble that we stare at each other on these small screens won't accept it. The general audience and the MILFs don't care. And the general audience will be like, "Wow, it's a job. It's a role." And I think we have to realize that this is how these people pay their bills and they live their lifestyles and they present their legacies. All right. This is their prestige. And he's not going, if Marvel offered him an offer and he accepted it, under no circumstances is Danny Garcia or Henry Cavill going to sign their names on anything that excludes him from being in anything else that he wants to be in. Nobody's going to stop. No company's going to make a dumb enough offer to stop them, a major star like that, from making other money. That's giving a performer an ultimatum out of the door. Nobody's going to sign that contract. So yeah, if he had shown up today, he could have showed up as Ben Grimm. He could have showed up in a rocky, stony costume, taken off the head, and said, "I'm Ben Grimm," and I'll be like, "Hey, all right, dude, that's great. I'll see you in Fantastic Four when it gets released." And my next question when are you putting on the Red S? Because I'm going to go see that too. So yeah, but the hype of him showing up was half of that hype was because people thought that if he showed up, that meant the end of him doing anything else. And I'm like, you guys can count other people's money real good. You can count Danny Garcia's 10% better than she can. You can count Henry Cavill's potential 20 to 50 million payday off of these combined movies better than he can. I don't think so. He's going to do.
Now, I did want to bring up something though. Going back to talking about the D23 shows for today. I think the thing that I'm the most excited for isn't even Star Wars or Marvel. One of the best looking trailers I saw today was Willow. The new. It's freaking amazing. It harkens back to the movie. It's so good. And I'm looking forward. It's gonna be a limited series. I'm looking forward to it.
It's time to let go of the 80s, guys. Listen, I was there. I was in the 80s. Are we going
to? Dude, I was there with you.
Are we going to?
We were in the trenches.
Are we going to Are we going to bring back Asher Watch jeans?
Of course.
Are we going to bring back the Vans? And are we going to start playing Rick Ashley other songs besides the?
Dude, we're going to bring back the red jackets pushed up to our elbows. We're going to bring back the hair, man. We're going to bring back all of it.
But you know what? I didn't watch that one, but I will watch it. And listen, if they're still tortured, I'm making fun. I'm not being serious because I can say the same thing about Top Gun, and I'm so happy that they made Top Gun Maverick. Here's my thing: when it comes to sequels, I don't care whether it's 2 years, 50 years. If there's still story to tell the story. That's why when people say, "Oh, we don't need a Joker too," yeah, you do. If the storytelling, one of
the best things out that I've seen lately besides Game of Thrones was Cobra Kai. And it links back to Karate Kid, but it's more than just Karate Kid. It's taken the story so far. It's actually done it really well.
I tried to watch it. I just didn't connect with the Karate Kid enough. I just don't have enough Karate Kid in my heart that I care about. That Cobra Kai mattered to me. I know a lot of people love it, but the whole reason
It's
why Kai
amazing.
was around that and during that era, I was like, I watched I watched it while I was on YouTube, when it was a YouTube TV show, and I'm like, okay. I mean, I didn't hate it, but there's certain shows that give a shot.
Season 5 was so good. Anyway,
I didn't make it that far. All right, so let's watch. What other trailers do I have here? Let's see. I know this.
Why don't we watch the Willow trailer? Why don't we watch the Willow trailer since you haven't seen it?
I'll bring that up after this one because I have this one already queued up.
All right.
And I'm too clumsy. All right. This one is, I thought, one of the better trailers in a long time, and this is for a show that I like. So we're going to go look at Baby Yoda, and we're going to watch the
Oh, God, yes.
There you go.
This is the one that you saved? You are as its father. A clan of two. But you have removed your helmet. Then you are a Mandalorian no more. Your cult fractured our people. Where were you then? Did you think your dad was the only Mandalorian?
All right, kid. Hang on. You ready for an adventure?
All right. So what now? Not just this trailer. What I liked about these trailers that I've shown to this point, unlike the Black Adam, I did not like the music that accompanied Black Adam. Please stop using hip hop and rap when it comes to these movies. Nothing against hip hop and rap. It doesn't fit. Use a musical score. We have great musical score. And half the time when they're using it, it's not even in the movie. Like, I promise you, I'll bet money now that mess that they use in the Black Adam trailer is not going to be in the movie.
Did you notice the sequel? Did you notice the sequel trilogy nod in the Mandalorian trailer? The little guy that was the droid, the little guy that was the droid guy that helped Babu Fricks in that trailer.
Standing next to her. I was paying more attention to the Mandalorians themselves. I'll watch it again over and over again before it's not coming out until January. So that's how you do a trailer. All the trailers I watched today, musical score. I don't want to hear, and if you're gonna do a genre music, make sure it fits the movie that you're doing. I've never seen that many movies in this genre where the music that they use in Black Adam fits. But I got Hans Zimmer. I got all these people that can put you together that have their musical scores in the film. Have them do a similar one to the trailer. It's not like the old days where Terminator 2, when you used Guns N' Roses, You Could Be Mine to advertise it, and Guns N' Roses was that song was in the motion picture soundtrack. They're just throwing stuff together, and it's like it's just trying to be trendy, and I hate it because it disrupts the trailer for me. And
it's because it's considered popular music, so they're thinking they're going to draw a certain audience putting that in the trailers. And I agree with you, it's horrible. They shouldn't do it that way.
But when I go to the movies, that ain't going to be in there. It's going to be complete musical score. So I love this. The Mandalorian, it's tense. I know what the premise of the season is. I know who's involved. I know what the mission is. I know what the continuation is from last season. I love the inclusion of Bo-Katan. I mean, I love all the Mandalorians. I love the fact I love her voiceover. Your cult fractured our people, and he like I said, for the first couple of seasons, remember, we didn't really consider him. He was the Mandalorian, and then when you see them and not taking off the helmet and all that stuff, you realize what a fanatic he is. And they called him the Lost Children or something like that. So I was
yeah.
I like that dynamic between them. I like obviously we got Baby Yoda in there. He's a must. But you see some intense violence. You see them wanting to take back Mandalore. You see Mandalore in ruins, and you see him, having to go
after
back
the night of 1,000 tears.
Yeah, and he has to reclaim his heritage because he took off his mask. So we're dealing with the normal Mandalorians, and we're dealing with him.
You have Bo-Katan's Death Watch.
Yeah, and she
I
wants
love
that.
it.
She wants that Darksaber back, and she can't. It has to be given to her. So it's or she has to fight it. It cannot be given to her. She has to fight it, or she has to fight for it, and she has to win it in a battle, which I think is. There's so much tradition in the Mandalorian that I love the show. So I am on board. This is one of the things.
They're positively Japanese the way they do things. They're positively Japanese the way the Mandalorians do things.
Yeah, because
their clans and everything else.
Yeah, you have a lot of samurai tradition in there. All right, which one's the official trailer for? I guess this is it. Let's go ahead and watch this trailer. Oh. Hold on. Let me get it back up. I didn't have this one queued up because I forgot all about this one. So, and this is one I'm not. This Willow I don't have on my radar, but it could get on there easily. Let's see, Willow.
You have seen the original movie though, right?
Yeah, I saw it in the movies. All right,
okay.
Here we go.
You think you know what is real and what isn't. What is light? What is dark? Now, forget all you know. Come with me. Willow.
We're looking for the sorcerer Willow. I was told that once long ago you defeated the forces of evil.
You remind me of your mother.
My dear friend. I thought I could prevent all this. I was wrong.
My brother was abducted. The world needs you again. It needs your magic.
Follow me. We must go. Beyond the edge of our world. Into the unknown.
Willow!
I need your help.
Just like old times. Running. Horses. Mayhem. Happy to see you.
Our true enemy is still out there, rallying the forces of evil, and the only thing standing in its path is us.
I'm going to enjoy this.
If you're thinking what I'm thinking, so am I.
I doubt that very much. Take him to my tent and make sure he's tied up.
I don't know. See, that kind of sounds like we're on the same page.
When I was a kid, I used to play at being a sorcerer, visiting strange worlds, fighting monsters. Never thought I'd actually really do it.
What the hell is that? Trolls. I'm so miffed.
We have to hurry.
How will you defeat us?
Same as last time. With my friends.
Okay, I'm sold.
It looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, that didn't take much. I'm sold on it. It is presented in a way that you obviously you want to go see the other movie. I saw it in the movies, but I when I watched that trailer, I could easily see somebody just jumping onto that out of nowhere if they wanted to. because really the only
This
thing
isn't a movie though. This is a series. It's going to be
which is even better. You know,
it's going to be a limited series. It's going
How
to.
many episodes?
Let me look that up really quick, and I'll tell you.
Yeah, because that's stunning. And I am a fan of that genre, and but I am not a fan of it if it's done in a way that my brain can't, really care about it. Lord of the Rings. So this looks great.
Yeah,
that's what a trailer's supposed to do. If I would have seen that movie in the movies, if I'd have seen that trailer in the movies, I'd been like, okay, I'm going to go see that movie. Now it's a series, but I would go see this in the movies. But I will gladly watch this.
Oh God, yes.
At home, I will gladly watch it at home. That's a great trailer. Everything about that trailer is great. You could take the hallmarks of that trailer and you could stick them in any movie, and you could sell any movie. Black Adam needs to take a cue from that one. But let's go into the chat and see what these guys are talking about here.
It looks like it's going to probably be between 6 and 9 episodes.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I dude, that's enough. That's yeah, people enjoy freaking out over nothing. Yeah, I hate to say it, but it's probably true. Mary Wilcox, nice to see you.
Hey, Mary, how you doing?
As a Black American, I'm looking forward to The Woman. Oh yeah, that I saw the trailer for that.
The Woman King.
Oh fuck yeah, that looks.
That
great.
actually looks really good.
Cool. Yeah.
That looks really good to me.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And that could, that puts her in the conversation. All right, question: do you guys, for you guys, do you think that Marvel should have recasted the role of Black Panther, especially? Yes. I
do.
This from the beginning, and and people are telling me, well, they couldn't, and I'm like, no, they can do whatever the hell they want to. It's the fans. Listen, I know we said on this topic before, and I won't go too far into it, but spoiler alert: people die. All right, and the work that Chadwick Boseman did to bring this character to us now, in a way, dies with him, and I don't think that his family has stated that's not what they wanted. The character is bigger than him. Everything that you see in a movie, whether it's from the caterer, the cameraman, the actor, the director, the producer, every one of those things is an asset to tell the story. No one of them is the story himself. This is not a story. Black Panther is not a story about Chadwick Boseman. That is for a biography that will be beautifully done later on. Black Panther is about T'Challa. All right. And the story is about T'Challa. And this imaginary story should not be tethered to real life things because it's an imaginary story. And well, Shuri was him in the comics. Here's the thing. And people tell me that they had planned to make a change. No, they didn't. The Marvel producers, for the most part, did not know about his health condition. So there was no way. As far as they know, they were making another movie with Chadwick Boseman. So things that have deterred the story that have nothing to do, as tragic as his death is, has nothing to do with T'Challa. And if you want to tie his legacy to that character, then you pick up the baton and you move forward in a way that honors the legacy that he brought forth. You don't just stop. I think he would be horrified knowing that his work stopped. He knew what that role meant to young Black men. He knew what that role, whether we connected with it or not. I understand why some people didn't connect it, but to see a positive, one of the very first characters, this is the ones that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, the handful of characters that they created in the 60s. So he's in that pantheon. They headlined to have a first Black superhero major. I know he got Blade, not on the same level, but that's an argument for a different day. But a $1 billion level movie to be headlined in that manner by one of us was so important for that the work to stop as far as that character going forward, I think was a mistake. Now, is that going to stop me from seeing Wakanda Forever? No. Once again, I'm not the storyteller. Even if I disagree with the elements of the story you included or excluded, if you put on a good story, I'm there for you. And I think Wakanda Forever it looks like a brilliant movie that's going to be a legendary type movie. Well, once again, that's not going to change the fact that I think they made a mistake in not recasting him. Life goes on. The work goes on. All right. And he wanted it. He would have wanted it that way. His family has expressed that. The people who know him better than any production element. And the excuse that, well, the fans wouldn't this, the fans wouldn't that. Listen, it's time for this. Every one of those fans knows somebody who died. Every one of those fans probably has a relative that died. All right. And they got up after they grieved, they got up and they moved on because their loved ones or those people who died would not want their world to stop.
True.
Because they're no longer in it. And the story of T'Challa should not stop because the asset that was used to tell him brilliantly is no longer around. Now, that being said, if they decide that they're going to do this whole Secret War thing and bring in an alternate out, I don't know. That's why I always default back to let the storyteller. Right now, I'm not happy with the decision that they made, but I don't know the intricacies of the decision. There could be something about this decision that there could be a net brand new T'Challa at the end of this movie through multiverse means. I don't know. So I'm not going to hate on it. I really wish they had made a different decision. But, to answer your question, yes, I think they should have. I passionately think they should have recasted him. All right. See. Yeah, Wilcox. I'm done with Scoopers too. I've been done with Scoopers for a while, and I'm really done with putting Scoopers on. And not saying other people's Scoopers live rent free in the mind of other YouTubers. All right, Bootcamp fan. Tough. That's a tough question. I think there's tough consequences to the answer to that question. I don't think it's a tough question at all. When I leave this planet, whatever I'm doing, other than like this, but even it's in my will that do not let my business go. When I went over to combat, I had a will and testament, and my SGLI had all that stuff. Find somebody, use the money I leave behind, the hundreds of thousands of dollars that the Army gives me for coming back in a box to make sure that the Sci-Fi Center stands, because I do not want my work to be in that box with me. I built something that I want to last longer than me, that was bigger than me. And Chadwick Boseman built something that was bigger than him, and it should go on. So yeah, to me, the answer is it going to have Marvel has always been better at making the tough decisions, though. And like we said earlier in the stream, they have always done what they were going to do, and they just basically gambled that you were going to be on board. And this is the first time they made a decision based on fans wavering. Listen, it's the job of a fan to waver like that. It's your job as a production company, and people are not going to boycott your movie. I'm not boycotting because you didn't put him on there. Nobody is going to boycott that movie if you recasted him. And if you wanted to take some time, you could. But like I keep saying, let the storyteller tell the story, correct? Tell your story. Tell the story you set out to tell. Don't let these elements corrupt your story. If killing him off and having him die was never a part of your story and you've only corrupted it because of what happened in real life, that's not your story. That's the antithesis of what I've always said. Let the storyteller tell the story. That's not telling your story. That's appeasement. So yeah, it's not, to me, tough question, but not a hard answer for me. So that's just me, though.
I wanted to answer a question really quick in the chat, if you don't mind, William.
Go ahead, man.
If you'll go down and look at Mary Wilcox's chat question about the controversy surrounding the Woman King, it's near the bottom there.
This one? Or further up?
Yes, that's it right there. Mary, I can answer that for you really quickly. The controversy behind the movie is something that historically happened in Africa. It's an unfortunate thing, but the tribe that her character represents was part of the slave trade in Africa, and that's where the controversy comes from.
And listen, guys, that controversy, if we're going to tell stories in certain parts of our history, there are going to be some uncomfortable things that, I'm sorry, we're going to have to deal with. You think I enjoy it as brilliant as Django Unchained is? You think I sit through that movie comfortably? Fuck no. I want to kill Leonardo DiCaprio's character. I want to choke Samuel L. Jackson's character because he played Stewart.
And the uncomfortable.
It's unfortunately these things happen. Same thing with 12 Years a Slave. Oh, Michael Fassbender is one of the best actors in our generation. I have to remind myself I don't want to poke his eyes out. He plays a character in there that is like, he makes my skin crawl. And I know we're in 2022. And every time I watch that movie, I know that this is not our reality now. But I know that it was part of our reality, and he explicitly portrays it in a way that's like, ooh. But if we're going to depict these times, there's going to be some things that come with it that are not comfortable watch, unfortunately. It just is what it is, But do we stop telling stories because they're not comfortable? No, it's up to consumers to not watch them if he doesn't want to. I don't have to watch 12 Years a Slave.
You're very welcome, Mary. I just wanted to clear that up. It's, like William just said, when you tell a historical story, you have to understand that there's going to be uncomfortable moments. And I don't know how far they're going to delve into it with the movie. But I do know that it was a thing with that tribe, and it was a thing with a lot of tribes in Africa and those time periods. And history is uncomfortable. It's always going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, other tribes sold enemy tribes into slavery so that they get weapons to get leverage back in their regions. And that's not something I'm proud to talk about. But hey, history is history. I mean, the Earth is not flat. What's going on here? I mean, either Chadwick Boseman brothers says he would have wanted to roll shot. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's sad that we have to speak about a 43-year-old man's legacy in this manner. But the fact is, the work needs to continue. The work he was doing was important. T'Challa was important even before he was in that movie as being one of the main Black characters that, and realized back in the 60s, T'Challa's Black Panther precedes the group, the movement, the Black Panther movement. So he was iconic even back then in 1966 when he was created, 4 years after Marvel's books even came out. So he's one of the earliest Marvel characters around. He was around before Chadwick Boseman was even born, and he's going to be around. He's definitely going to be around for even after I'm gone. So are we telling these larger than life stories? Then tell a larger than life story. If you want to tell a real story, then you do a biography, you do a documentary. But if you're going to tell a larger than life story about an imaginary character and an imaginary storyline that cannot be tethered to real life, if that real life wasn't your original plan, it'd be different if Ryan Coogler would have came out and said, you know what, I already had plans for Shuri to take over this and that, but he didn't. He was just as much shocked that Chadwick Boseman was even sick. Everybody thought when he got skinny and was going through chemo, nobody knew about that. They thought he was getting, they noticed it. They thought he was getting ready for a role like Joaquin Phoenix was getting ready for a role when he lost 15 pounds and looked like a skeleton. That's what actors do. So, and people respected his privacy. So if the people writing the story didn't know and they had planned for him coming back and putting on the Black Panther costume, that was not their story. Shuri, someone not T'Challa putting on the Black Panther costume was not part of your original story. And that's all I ask is for you to tell the story that you set up to stay. And if you're going to change the element, it should be because of the editorial and creative elements within the story that you're telling, right? Not outside. All right. I came to your movie and joined your imaginary world and bought into your imaginary thing for what the train that you put me on, and I like I said, I will always, and I will be the happiest person in the world when we see another T'Challa, because I think it has to happen. All right. So yeah. So fourth answered the question with you too, as far as, yeah, dude. 12 Years a Slave was hard to watch, but it's also
God, that movie was difficult to watch.
Yeah, especially since Solomon Northrup's life extremely close to being forgotten. Yeah, we don't even know what the hell happened. This book was found and his story was told based on that, but we don't even know what even happens. There's no history after he's released and gets back to his family. At least we know that much happened, but he just basically disappears. There's no history of him after that. And watching this free man get kidnapped, taken down there, and just hearing the terms, hearing us being referred to that way, even though I like I said, I listen, these days in 2022, if you call me the N-word, I'm either going to do two things. I'm going to compose myself, walk away because I don't want to go to jail, or you're going to get your ass whipped. That's just and that's going to be happening to a lot of us. So, but we're watching a society like that, and we're putting ourselves, because they do it's the reason why I won Best Movie. They do an excellent job of putting the viewer in that fucking movie. And unfortunately, that movie is not a good place to be in. All right. The whole auctioning and selling and the whole property thing, the way they were treating them, the way they put them on display that way, the way the whipping scene, which is, like I said, I truly think that's what won her the Academy Award, the way she sold that scene. And I'm watching that scene and I want to kill Michael Fassbender. He's playing a role and he's great. When you hear him and you hear Solomon reading off the prayers as he's doing this, and you hear her screaming, I want to kill him. And I couldn't. My ancestors that and my forebears that made it through that era, you are strong. Obviously, you're gone now, but even the ones who made it through the civil rights era and that are still alive, you're better people than me. With my temperament, you are better people. You endured just by watching these movies and just watching and knowing how history unfolds. You endured some shit that I couldn't. I don't know if I could do it. And you guys did it because I'm here. All right, we're here because you endured some stuff that I can't even watch on TV without just wanting to throw my TV. And if I saw Michael Fassbender, I got to start thinking Magneto. He's Magneto. Because when I think of him, I'm like, what, you did such a great job that I want to suffocate you to death. So yeah, 12 Years a Slave. And I thought Roots. I grew up with Roots. 12 Years a Slave made Roots look like Barney the dinosaur. As far as its brutality, as far as its violence goes, as far as the terminology goes, and everybody in that movie, Sarah Paulson, who usually plays in comedies and other things and in some horror stuff, I wanted to put a rope around her neck because her character was like, oh, I just wanted to hurt these people. And that's when you know that the director in the movie, the people they've done their job. And 12 Years a Slave puts me right there. I'm right there watching what's her face get whipped like that. I'm right there watching Solomon, go through all that. And like I said, at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, it's at the end of the movie where he sends a Brad Pitt's character, he gives him that letter, and Brad Pitt's character gets it to the right people, and they come down there with the law and take him back. I love that scene because Michael Fassbender's character he couldn't do anything. He knew that if he tried to stop that magistrate, they were going to bring a whole bunch of stuff. And that was just before the Civil War was about to start. So the powder keg was already there with the North. So he noticed he talked all that crap, but he didn't do anything. He's like, you're going to be back in my, by the end of the day, you're going to get all these lashings. And the guy just taking him like, yeah, don't listen to him. Come with us. And I love, that was one of the happiest endings of any. And it's not science fiction. It's not horror. But it's wow. I don't know how we got on that topic, but yeah, it's a very important movie. And then, like I said, right now, just talking about it makes my ugh. All right, Point Diction Lounge. It's not that the material is heavy; it seems to be ignored the aspect and make it about fighting for their freedom. Where's he? Okay, I see what he's saying. Or for Woman Queen. Yeah, once again, whenever you have a historical, whoever is the narrator is going to take certain aspects and not aim it to fit a narrative, but they're going to tell the aspect of the story that they feel is from the point of view that they're trying to get over. If they're trying to make things look heroic, that's one thing. If they're trying to show accountability, that's another thing. But that's all on the storyteller. You can make some of these slave movies that we talked about a very, very heroic movie and make some heroes that create heroes that are not there, but they decided to tell a stark reality. So I'm going to leave that up to the storyteller. But there's no wrong answer there. All right, maybe not ignorant. The bit of history is not. Yeah, like I said, it's what the storyteller chose, because you could take that story and go a lot of different ways. They chose to go that way, but you know what's going to happen, Mary and Forth? Once this movie comes out, and it's probably going to do well, it's going to do the same thing that Watchmen did. Nobody knew what the hell a Tulsa Massacre was, except for eggheads like me and maybe some of you in this chat room. I sat here with a room full of people on our big screen watching Watchmen because I knew it was going to be great. And for the 45 minutes that followed, I was explaining Black Wall Street to people. I was explaining, this is history. I was explaining Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1929 to people who didn't even know that it existed. I was explaining that the Black Lawman was what that he was depicting was inspired by the Black Lawman that was the inspiration for the Lone Ranger, because back then he couldn't get it past the editors because he was a Black Ranger, he was a Black Marshal, and the guy who created the Lone Ranger wanted to create stories about him, but back in that day, wasn't happening. So the black mask that the Lone Ranger is actually the mask that masks the true character what the Black Marshal was supposed to be. It was what's the word I'm looking for? But it was a symbolic gesture. So a lot of people didn't know that. So when we tell the history of sometimes, that's why it's so important that don't look at what starts the conversation. Look at where you go with the conversation. Because I had people that were coming here to watch Watchmen, and they were looking for a big blue dude who can reshape things, and they left out of here going home on their phones, looking up on Wikipedia and Googling Black Wall Street. So even though this story may give a depiction that some people may not feel is accurate, at least it gets the story and the conversation started. Because sometimes the best thing is to get these conversations started. These uncomfortable conversations that people don't like to have, because to be honest with you, it doesn't paint a vision of the country that all people want to remember. But it happened. So this movie may not be the most accurate depiction, but I guarantee you, people will start talking about it, and it will be the better for that conversation. All right, so let's see what we got here for sure.
Hey, William, before you go on, I'm gonna go ahead and step out. I'm kind of fading, so
fading. All right, man.
That fading. So I will talk to you later.
All right. Don't get too old.
Everybody in the chat, thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here with us. We appreciate y'all. And I will talk to you fellas and you guys and gals in the chat later.
All right. See you later, man.
Good night, buddy.
All right.
Hit me up tomorrow for the Game of Thrones thing.
Yeah, it's going to be later, and I'll explain why. You already know why. But
that's fine.
Yeah. All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Later.
All right. Now that asshole's gone. No, I'm just kidding. It's great. But yeah, so I am looking forward to these conversations because I think the biggest problem with any of these things is we're just afraid to talk about it, and we're afraid to even start the conversation one way or another. All right, what happened to Steve McQueen, the director? What do you mean? Steve McQueen, I think Steve McQueen is still alive. Did I miss his death? Hold on. Steve McQueen. Okay, well, Steve McQueen's still alive. Whew, don't do that to me. Yeah, he's still alive. He's still I don't know what he's making right now. Let's see what he's going on and making. Let's look up his filmography. So wow, the last movie he made was a movie called Widows. Back in 2018, he did television, Small Axe, and he's got Uprising. It's on television. But yeah, he's only made 4 movies. Black British director. Let's see, born in 1969, so he's 52. Let's see, did he win the Academy Award for 12? Let's see, did he? Yeah, he won the Academy Award for 12 Years a Slave. So yeah, and so did Brad Pitt because he was a producer of that movie. So don't do that to me, Fourth. Man, people dropping Larry, man. I thought something happened to him. Yeah, Mandalorian's gonna be great. I listen, Obi-Wan. I wasn't a big fan of the concept of Obi-Wan because, spoiler alert, Obi-Wan dies. Just like Andor. I'm pretty sure Andor is going to be quality, but the problem I have with Andor is the pure fact that the greatest moment in his life, the biggest sacrifice he ever makes, the highest moment that he'll ever reach, I saw that in one of the best movies that Star Wars has ever put out. How do I emotionally wrap myself in when I know that he's not going to do anything, in my opinion, I mean, I could be wrong, anything in Andor that is going to match the ultimate sacrifice he made in Rogue One? You know? So I'll have to give that a shot, but I'm not all the way there with that one. So let's see. Yeah, at least Solomon of Northrop was able to have descendants. Who knows how many? Yeah. I mean, I can't even finish reading what you're saying because I know some of the stuff that you guys are sending me, and I'm reading through it. some of these things strike me in a way that it's hard for me to finish the damn aircraft. But free black in this country, yeah, it's And here's the thing about it, though, as when it comes to the legacy of slavery and civil rights, I am a hopeless optimist when it comes to these things. Obviously, given the background of our heritage and how we became part of the country, I could have a completely different point of view about all this, but I don't. I think that America is a self-correcting country as long as we buy into it and are willing to do the work with it. There's a reason why I'm not living in my grandfather's America right now. And while it is not 100% perfect, things aren't 100% where they need to be. They are damn sure not where they were when he was around, when could have died for the country and came back and being treated like he was treated. Like most black people who served in World War II were treated like trash when they came back. I was given a parade when I came back. I was allowed to walk side by side with all manner of ethnic groups, Jews, Arabs, Pakistani, black, white, Asian. We all wore this flag and we all bought into the idea. And that is the one thing that I have the benefit of all those who suffered before me, because just like Ronald Reagan said, and I'm not going to paraphrase him because I used to have that speech memorized. It was one of the last things he said on his way out of office is America is that shiny house on a hill. And it's because you can come from anywhere in this country and you can be American. And that's not the same with all the other countries. And it's not about a race with me. And I learned that from joining the Army. I learned that from being third generation military, growing up at a military base. It's an ideal. If you buy into the idea and hold people to that paper and use the laws to your advantage, going out and voting and all that, that history, as ugly as it is, can be further put in the distant rearview mirror with the work that's being done today, with the work that's being done in the 50s and 60s, the work that's being done now to make sure that we're all eligible to vote and that we're all registered to vote, and some of the dirty tricks that are being out there. A lot of that. The work is still being done, but I am a clear example of the progress that has been made. So yes, that history is there, but so is the future. And I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. I am the military and the where I grew up and the environment that I have been a benefit of has shown me that it can happen. Even if it was in the 1% of the country that was serving, it happened. 1% of the country is still part of the country, and it can serve as a beacon. I think things are getting better. I think that when the next generation comes along, they're not going to hold on as tightly. Each generation that goes on loosens its grip on the bullshit that preceded it. So that's my investment in it. And like I said, I put my money. It's not just me talking up the flag. I was willing to come back in a box for it. I made myself available for Uncle Sam's wars wherever they were fought, whenever they were fought. And so did my dad, so did my grandfather, and so did 1,300 members of the Powell and our Clark family on my mother's side. We were all extended in the military. So. But see, the military to me is the American dream. It's what America could be. So yeah, we got a crappy history, but like I said, I think the future is much better. And I'm glad that I'm here now in 2022, and I'm not in the 60s, and I'm not in the 1830s, 40s, and 50s. I am those guys. All right, at the ending of Amistad, boy, my dude, not the ending of Amistad boiled my blood. Amistad, the beginning of Amistad boiled my blood. All right. I didn't think and I saw that as a screener because my sister used to work for Amblin, which is who made that movie. I didn't think I was going to be able to finish that movie. And when I went out, I wanted to slap people around that didn't deserve to be slapped because I was so angry. And that movie's brutally violent. That movie was released, I think, in 97, and it's brutally violent. And you just, like I said, you just got to put yourself outside of it and understand that the era that's being depicted, somebody survived that era for us to be here. So they were strong. I have no business cringing now with what they went through. So yeah, Amistad was tough, man. Ugh. All right, Sarah Paulson should have been nominated. Yeah, she should have been. Oh my goodness, she earned the I wanted to slap the shit out of her award because she played that wife, and I just wanted to just But that's what good thespians do. That's what good actors do. They just take you in there. That's what Joffrey did on Game of Thrones. How many people did not want to choke the shit out of Joffrey? How many people? Ramsay Bolton does was doing a horrible thing a minute. Spoiler alert, but no one was safe from Ramsay Bolton. He did the worst things, and he outdid himself every week. So yeah. But the guy Rion, right? I can't pronounce his name, but you watch him in something else, he's a completely different person. So you just got to remember, these guys are just actors. So let's see, St. Clinton. Hey, what's going on, man? I'm glad to see you here. St. Clinton is local here in Vegas. You would have survived as you would have understood how things operated. I knew when I went down south that there were things that I couldn't do, like I could live. Yeah, and even when I was in the army, obviously the army has places all over the South, and certain things in the South are still the same in certain pockets of the South. I was in Alabama for a while. I was in Texas. I was in Oklahoma. I've been in places where you can kind of see time has stood still. So yeah, there are still things. You got to still be careful, even back then and even now. So yeah, but I guess I would have. I say this now because I'm watching it now from the comfort of not ever having been through it. I think you're right. I think I would survive. I think I would adapt. Boy, it would have been tough though. Boy, it would have been tough. Oh, they were. Yeah. Let's see. A great horror on the topic is Detroit. That movie was intense, and there wasn't a lot to the movie. To be honest with you, it wasn't a high budget movie. It wasn't a lot filmed in a lot of different areas. I mean, a lot of it took place in that house. Those cops. That was an intense movie. All right, William Glenn Powell as Cyclops would have been good choice. I like Glenn Powell, and in case you guys don't know who he's talking about, Glenn Powell. If you've seen, the only thing I've ever seen him in right now is Top Gun. He plays Hangman, and he plays him brilliantly. He got the biggest applause in the whole movie. I won't spoil it because it's still a relatively new movie. But obviously, Hangman has his moment, and it's a Super Bowl moment, and you learn to hate him and love him all at once. So yeah. I don't know. It's hard for me to say that because I've never seen him anything else. But I always assume that any actor can be what you need them to be. So yeah, I'll go along with that. I could see him as Cyclops. Let's see. Bass Reeves was a U.S. Marshal, and he was the inspiration for the Lone Ranger. And if you ever watch documentaries about Bass Reeves, what he had to go through to enforce the law is wow. Like I said, these historic people. All right, St. Clement, my father and I went to Michigan when I was a teenager, and we had to take my birth certificate to prove I was his child. And in the event he got pulled over, he was white, I'm colored. There are still some pockets in the north. My parents are from New Jersey, and they had to deal with some things there. I know a lot of people who were growing up in Boston in the 50s, 60s, and 70s that had some issues growing up, and this was as far north as you can get. Even though the South was where a lot of the issues were born, when you had the Great Migration up north, a lot of what happened was people, we had this entire population of us moving up there. People, they thought we're taking their jobs, or taking all their advantages and all that, taking all the housing, So even though they were dealing with a certain type of racism and down in the South during that era, there was a different type of racism that you were dealing with. It was more of a replacement racism that you were dealing with when it came to the North, and culture, lifestyle differences. A lot of us were coming from the South. That's where, if you look at the genesis of how Black America begins, obviously we didn't have a choice where we landed, and where we spent generations before we migrated throughout. And during certain times, up until 1865, we could not leave certain regions without fear of death, unless you were born outside of the region, or unless you escaped and you went to the north. So us coming to the north was a sudden thing once things started happening in the South that made it untenable for us to live. So we went up north because the North was always viewed as better. But once those population mixed, you had some issues. It's a lot better now. You still have issues, but back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, let's look up Bensonhurst. look up all kinds of stuff. I mean, and these are areas where, you have millions, populations that are millions of black people living, but a lot of them are segregated. If you go to some of the major cities, even in LA for a while, South Central LA was predominantly where black folks lived. East LA for a time was predominantly where Hispanic lived, and it was segregated. Even though it was a melting pot in certain areas, as you moved eastward, those populations stand out and were more segregated. That's why when you look at the Rodney King riots, it happened in South Central. That's where a lot of the damage was done, because that's where a lot of the rage was done. So even in these big cities, you still had race issues, and they were powder kegs. The culture of the South was one thing, but the racism, it was everywhere. And like I said, Rodney King, I sat and watched my home city burn, because of what went on with Rodney King and the LA riots back then. The MEPS Center, which is MEPS, is where you mobilize out of to when you leave out to become a soldier, where you go, you take your swearing, you do your physical and all that. I had to go out of a different MEPS Center because the one in California burnt down during the riots. So yeah, it's everywhere. It's not just in the South, but the South, it was a different genesis in the South, because that's where a lot of it began. All right, so let's go here. Watchmen director's cut, ultimate cut is a masterpiece, and Watchmen is my favorite Zack Snyder movie. I know a lot of people talk about BVS, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Man of Steel. Watchmen is one of my favorite comic book movies ever, and Watchmen is my favorite Zack Snyder's movie. I saw it in the movie theater. I think it does things that the book cannot do. When you hear that music and you hear that atmosphere that they do, granted, the book is a classic. Don't get me wrong. Don't come at me. But that movie does things in the 2 hour and 45 minutes that it's giving you in its theater run that I never expected him to be able to do. He covers time in the Maxi series in 12 months that series takes place in the 1985-1986 period that I did not think that you could do in such a short movie. The series, in my opinion, takes it a bit further because they had 9 episodes to do so. And you didn't have to rush the development of characters. And you could do certain things like the Squid Monster. The lack of the Squid Monster in Zack Snyder's film is because you didn't have time to build up everything that you needed to make that relevant. But in the Watchmen TV series, you had 9 episodes, and you could build up Adrian's plan, and with those squid monsters and all that fell into it to the point where you could see the manifestation of it. So Watchmen is a great work that just breeds good stuff. I hope we get another season of it, but Zack Snyder's Watchmen is my favorite Zack Snyder movie. All right, yep, Bass Reeves, yep. All right, Chappie. Oh, okay, and I hope I answered both questions then if he was. All right, let's go a little bit further in here. Fourth 1000, the Watchmen show was great. Come on, Mary. But hey, everybody's got their own opinion. But I love the Watchmen show. Excellent performances all around. It shows you that even in 2022, in the world that they were in, where they'd won Vietnam and they were on top, that we still had situations. We still had people that were afraid of being replaced. Remember what the senator said? It's hard out here to be a white man, but that one racist senator, and the whole thing was built on old racist beliefs, and all those white supremacists that were along with them. I mean, it was still there, and I think that they did a very good job in portraying it without taking away from the Watchmen element of the story. So I loved Watchmen, but I love Watchmen the movie. So like I said, I just said it's one of my favorite comic book movies, and definitely my favorite. All right, to the old regime of Warner Brothers, do you think that there has been a lot of bad management at Lucasfilm, especially with Kathleen Kennedy and some of the employees? I think there has been a lot of missed opportunities, and I think there's been a lot of mistakes, but nowhere near the magnitude of what's happened in Warner Brothers. Here's the thing, though. For the most part, I mean, with they've told the stories. You may not have liked the way The Last Jedi and Rise of the Jedi ended, but for the majority, you got the Star Wars universe that the people who set out to tell those stories meant to give you. Whereas when it comes to WBD or Warner Brothers proper, the previous regime, we did not get the story that the director intended us to get. Not only that, we didn't get anything to fill in behind that. See, when Lucasfilm makes a change, they fill in the gaps and you go forward however you can. When Warner Brothers makes a change, you're just left in limbo, and that's mismanagement. So there have been some issues with Kathleen Kennedy. I think the preparation for some of their situations where they've had to hire and fire people when they should have probably done the vetting process a lot sooner and a lot harder and had it a little bit more finalized instead of having to change out people for creative differences and when midstream. But like I said, I would take the problems that Lucasfilms has had and the successes that they've had over the issues that Warner Brothers had since 2013 until now. At least Warner Brothers, Lucasfilm, for the most part, like I said, we're getting things like Mandalorian, we're getting things, some of you like Andor, we're getting things like Rogue One. The Lucasfilm machine has been far more productive and far more effective than the mismanagement at Warner Brothers, and that's why Kathleen Kennedy has a job, despite everybody thinking that she's going to get fired any moment now. It's not going to happen. It's not, nor does it deserve to happen. So that's. I hope I answered your question there. Let's see, William, what are your thoughts on Neil Blomkamp's 3 films, District 9? Hold on for a second. These idiots in these motorcycles. If you have a motorcycle and you have the roaring engines, what the fuck are you doing blasting music that I can hear it? Anyway, I like all 3 of them. I like his directing style. I wish he could have done that Alien movie. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that to come out. I hope at some point in his career he does something with Alien because I think that's a wasted opportunity. So yeah, I like his directing style. I like the stark tone of his directing and his storytelling. So yeah, I'm on board with anything he does. Past, present, or future. All right, Clinton. All right, you got a picture of... Do I? Hold on for a second. I do, but I don't know if I have it readily available. Let's see. So I can try. Wow, good question. Let's see. I wish I had Thade here to buy me some time. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that I do. Hold on for a second, because I know for every Veterans Day, I change my Facebook profile to the uniform that I was wearing, and it's the first day that I landed in. Where did I land? I think it was in Kuwait. I was in Kuwait because we all started in Kuwait, because from Kuwait you hit MSR Tampa, you hit all that stuff, and that's wow. You know what? If I can't find one now, I will probably, because I'm on a different computer. When we do the overnight shows, I am usually on my home computer, and I know for a fact I have it on my home computer because I have there's a Starbucks that was in there that I took a picture of, but oh wow, I can't believe. Hold on, let me look up here. I think I know where I can find it. Hold on. All right, so because I use it as my profile pic, so let's go ahead here. Hold on. Let's see. Pictures, photos. Here we go. I take a lot of photos. Oh my goodness, I take a lot of photos. One of these days, I'm going to go through the photos with you guys, and you'll see how absolutely ridiculous. Like, you think I look ridiculous now and wearing the Shazam shirt? Man, some of these pictures I'm looking through, I look absolutely ridiculous because I'm having fun. Most of it is because, like I said, I try to have fun. Like tomorrow, I will not be doing our live stream from the bar that I'm usually doing it, simply because I am going to be at a wrestling event, full blown with my wrestling championship belts, because I am going to try to get them signed by wow, these assholes are really going crazy with this. By Jay White, who's going to be there, and some of the other characters that are going to be there. Not characters, wrestlers that are going to be there, and I'm going to be ringside. So if any of you guys watch NW New Japan Strong, you are going to see me at ringside with my belts. I am looking for the pictures of me that are in my battle uniform. I have one where I was in full body armor, and holy cow, the story behind that. I think it was 126 degrees on the tarmac because we had just got off the plane and we were just gearing up to go on the convoy to where we were going to be staying. And I thought that I was going to die. And this is coming from Vegas. In Vegas, it's 100 degrees routinely. But you have not experienced true heat until you have experienced hold on, looking for something. Veterans Day. You have not experienced true heat until you here we go. Here's oh wow, I got a couple of these. This isn't one of my better ones, but it's one of the ones I post. This is when I got back from deployment, so I'm going to go ahead and share the screen with you. Sorry to bore you guys with this. Share screen, stop action, and let's see. Go to share screen and go to window. I still have to walk myself through all this. Is this it? No, that's it. Yeah, there we go. So this is me and what was the ACU uniform. We were going on a training mission. You can see me. I have my M16, our standard issue. I'm a sergeant at this point. You can see my rank is right in the middle of the chest there. Wearing my hat, my fat head. You can see my combat patch, 7th group, 7th transportation group. That's the group I deployed with. Obviously, there's the flag right above me, U.S. Army. And then the other side had my command group, which was the 3rd Army. And my size 13 boots, and then my water pack behind me because this was early in the morning. This was at the gravel pit right before we were about to go out for a training mission that day. Let's see what else I got. Okay, and let's share this again. And when so here, right there. So whenever I say I'm 3rd generation military, this is what I mean right there. This is a proud moment for me whenever I can bring these up. Let's look at this, and this is William Powell Sr. This is my father. This is a man whose name I share, and this is a man who, if I ever have a son, and he will be named after us. That's how proud of he is a retired Air Force Master Sergeant. He served from 1967 to 1991. This is my grandfather. This is James Powell the first. I mean, we have cousins named 4th and 5th right after him. This is his a uniform that he took before he got on the plane to Berlin, believe it or not. And I believe, let's see, that's me. And I think the other picture is I have pictures of there's another one of us. This is the hat. The hat that you see me wearing is the hat that my job gave me on Veterans Day. They gave us, all of us that were combat veterans. This is the very first day I had that hat. And there you see it right there. That's the hat you always see me wearing. And this is when it was brand new. Here it is. All right. So you want to talk some painful heat? Holy cow. I'm drinking one of many canisters of water. They had bottled water there for us. What you're looking behind is the tent that I lived in for a while there. And there's the barricades at all of our tents because we were in a foreign country. And they put these barriers up to protect our area so that you couldn't have attacks and you couldn't have suicide, bombers or people driving cars up to blow us up. So it actually doesn't look like that, but there's a lot of space in between where I am and that tent is. And then those are security tents. This is the first day. This is my first day. I think this is at Aliyah Salim. I cannot remember. It was years ago. I'm not a sergeant yet. I was promoted there. Everything I'm wearing is government issue, those sunglasses. and this would be back in 2000, October of 2004, and it was 126 degrees right where I'm standing. It wasn't as hot ambient temperature that day, but if you notice, I'm standing on a hot gravel road, and all that concrete, all it did was radiate, and it made us suffer, boy. And there's another one in there where, where is it? Once again, everybody, these are past veteran days, and every day my mom and my sister, they post these things for us, and they tag me in them. That's why I'm showing up on there. Happy Veterans Day, bro. And then I got former people that I served with that are always tagging us. And then my uncle, who's missing from these, his name is James Powell. He was a Master Chief Petty Officer on the USS Enterprise, which I got stuff at my house that he gave me from the Enterprise. And I think as a Star Trek geek, this is the coolest thing ever. So yeah, that's a little bit of my military history. Yeah. So yes, I do. To answer your question, long story short, I do have pictures of me in uniform. I have a lot more somewhere, but those are just the ones that are, those are just the ones I had readily available. So yeah. Yeah. Clinton, I've got a chance to meet Clinton. Pretty cool dude. I mean, he's on my Twitter and everything. Great supporter of small businesses. And yes, if you guys are in Vegas, please come out and see me. I'd love to meet you. I think that random interaction and that those random encounters that you have when you meet people. I've had a chance to meet Cylon Scotty, RJ, Marvel Maniac has come out here. Dave, the film junkie, I've had a chance to meet him in person. And then hopefully we all get together out here. Vegas is the place people come to get in trouble. So California. Yeah, I mean, I'm from California, so depending on where you live, I grew up in the greater Los Angeles area. So San Bernardino, Rialto, Moreno Valley, LA area, Hawthorne, Inglewood. Because my dad was in the military, we kind of went where the work was. So all right, Joffrey's actor got me. Yeah, we saw that. And they kept putting the picture of him choking at the red wedding. Sorry, spoiler. So he superimposed this picture on it, so I thought that was great. Let's see what else we got here. New comments. So all right. Yeah, Enterprise, dude, being on the Enterprise, to say that you were on the Enterprise, to say that I stood on the Enterprise, because obviously the USS Enterprise is in the lineage of the Starship. So to say I had an uncle, not only did I have an uncle, okay, for those of you who are not familiar with the Navy, Master Chief is an E9. It is the highest form of NCO. It's the highest NCO. And Master Chief he was the chief of the boat, which means wherever the captain of the ship or whoever it was, or sometimes it was an admiral, depending on where the fleet configuration was, he walked with him. He was the chief enlisted advocate, and nobody below an 04 messed with him. Once you're a Master Chief, he was, and you saw when I got a chance to see him, he was like a god on that ship. I mean, even the junior officers were like, whoa, here comes Chief, because they called him Chief, Master Chief Powell. And this guy was a legend. Both my uncle and my father were high-ranking NCOs. My dad got out because he was tired of moving around. He wanted to settle, and he got out because they were closing all the bases in California under BRAC, which is the base for relocation reallotment act back in the 90s. And he didn't want to move again. We were teenagers, and he didn't want to move us again. And he had done his 25 years. My uncle decided to stay in because his rank and job in Norfolk, Virginia kept him there anyway. So he had the obligation. I mean, that was the home port of the USS Enterprise, if I can remember. Let's see. Love and really like a lot of the 90s movies. My favorite decade of movies besides the 2000s, but Total Recall. Total Recall was fun. It's bullshit, but it's fun. I mean, their eyes bulging out when they're out and there's no atmosphere before they fill in the atmosphere and save them. And I'm like, okay, they're just going to come back from that. But it was fun. It was one of those movies you go into, and sometimes you just need to go to a movie. I need to go to a movie just to see shit blow up. And that movie does it for me. Let's see. I am not okay. So where I am, the strip is split up into the North Strip and the South Strip. The South Strip is where all the beauty and all the big hotels and all that in. I am literally, if you stick your head out of my out of the window. In fact, let me see. You guys can't see it, but you can see the stratosphere there. That is what's called the north end of the strip. So where I am at is on the north end of the strip. I am on a street that is. I'm on a street that is the immediate left, so I'm parallel. So I'm on Maryland Parkway, and then I'm on Sahara, and then which I just showed you was Sahara and Las Vegas Boulevard. And you make a left, then you're on the strip. Immediately, as soon as you turn left on Sahara, you're on the strip. And 70% of my business sales come from that general area. I get local business, and I love you locals, but the majority of my business is people that are visiting here because they're literally within a stone strip. And where I'm located, and there's the north end of the strip, which is where Pawn Stars and the Plaza and all the older hotels are, that ones that don't get blown up and redone. Those are all on the other side. So when you make a right, you're on that part of the strip. So I'm right in the middle of all that. But I'm literally, the convention center is behind me, the stratosphere I just showed you. So I'm not on the strip, but I'm considered, I'm actually considered in the downtown district. Go figure. But my proximity is really close to the strip, and it's how I make a lot of my money here. So good question there. Yeah, please, like I said, it's not for everybody, and it's not year round. It's hot. Oh, by the way, we're in the less than 90s, St. Clinton. We need to do our happy dance. We got a couple more 100-degree days left, and after that, the leaves start dying, and we start getting into that. My favorite part of the year is mid-September to December. It just daylight savings will be here. Oh, I just love it. I endure the heat. I fight my way through 4 months of heat just to get to that other 8 months of the year. So, but yeah, come out to Vegas. If you guys get a chance, I mean, I love showing people around. Enterprise is very old ship name. It is a legacy. Like I said, when you go into his office at the time, he had the old ship, and he had the USS Enterprise. So the captain, because I got to meet all those guys, they're Star Trek geeks. You know, a lot of them. He's the captain of the Enterprise. He could go out to he could pick up women if he wanted to. Hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm captain of the Enterprise. All right. He's a big deal. So yeah, when you go to all those guys who were stationed on the ship and you go to their offices, there's not one of them that didn't have the damn Kirk's Enterprise up there. It's hilarious. And it's cool too. So I love and really like it. Okay, I saw that again. Let's see. Let's go down to the Yeah, it's like it's right here. It's, like I said, when I stand on my balcony, the sunsets. If you look at my Instagram page, every Saturday, every Friday and Saturday, if I don't forget, I take a picture of the sunset because when it sets to the west side here, it's beautiful. And one of the reasons I do that is because it's not guaranteed. I learned that when I was in combat, when we were overseas, and even the people who weren't getting shot at, when people were getting in accidents, when people were getting injured. And just everywhere you turn, it could end up in somebody not coming back. And throughout that time and all the way up through COVID, where, you went from everything being okay to wondering if a perfectly healthy person wasn't going to be around. And when you went to your workplace and you didn't see somebody for a couple of days, you got that chill down your spine. So from that point on, I started taking a lot of pictures of things because I took them for granted. And I literally take a picture. I took one today of the sunset. And as a matter of fact, so that I can get real cheesy with you guys, I will show you what I mean. And I think everybody should. I think everybody should start taking a look around them and realizing that, amid all the chaos that's going on around us, there's beauty. There's beauty in this complicated machine. And like I said, this will give you a better idea of where we're at. If you guys ever want to come out and stalk me, I mean, it's a public place. You can find it on Google. So here we go. And this is the sun setting today. Around 7-ish. There's the sun setting. There's the stratosphere. So when you look at the stratosphere is like the line of demarcation between north and south. It sits right at the end across the street from the south end of the strip, and it begins the north end of the strip. You actually go on to what's called North Las Vegas Boulevard, and then you head on into North Las Vegas. North Las Vegas Boulevard runs all the way into North Las Vegas, all the way up into Nellis Air Force Base. But yeah, every time I take pictures of what I have, and then if you ever go to my Facebook page, I take, when the merchandise comes in, I take pictures of the merchandise because I get a lot of questions from people who what you should be reading. And there's silly stuff I take pictures of, my Hulk mask. There's a button. We have a huge wall of button collections. And stuff, we sell a lot of vintage pictures and stuff like that, and then, like I said, Blade Runner Black Lotus, which is a great read. I was talking to people about this today to read. So we get questions all the time. Black Label, DC Black Label, Star Wars rings are free if you want some, so, and there's our House of the Dragon screenings that we do every Sunday. So yeah, we have a lot of fun here. So like I said, it's not just a place where I stream from. It's literally, where I spend a lot of my days, and I enjoy doing it. So, all right, so let's see. America was in Walmart.com. What are you guys talking about? Oh, you guys are talking about a video game. I grew up in Albuquerque. I don't think Vegas heat will ever bother me. Yeah, the humidity. Yeah, that's a problem too. Albuquerque. What's your Instagram account name? All right, so it is. Let's see. I'll put it in the chat. And let's go here. And here you guys go. All right, there's my Instagram for you guys if you want to go in there. If you want to go to my YouTube page, because even though I'm on the Poindexter Lounge right now, guys, I'm starting to get going with our YouTube page. We do the Game of Thrones after shows from there and Poindexter Lounge. Most of our live stream stuff will be on Poindexter Lounge, but when we start doing tutorials and we start doing as seen on TV sections and getting into certain IPs and bridging the paper IP to the intellectual one that you watch on TV, that'll all be on this channel right here. So I'll also put that in there. Like I said, not a lot of content on it right now, but we're as I get more time to myself, I'm going to put that on there. Our Twitter page is at the Sci-Fi Center. It's really easy. At the Sci-Fi Center, no separation. At the Sci-Fi Center. Our website is, if you look at the scroll that's going across the bottom, you can also just go to the sci-fi-center.com, and all my social media is on there. All of our pictures, all of our Instagram pages, it's all on there. All right, so that dude Vince, I don't know. The humidity out west is this year, dude. Southern California was 110, and when I was living in Southern California, we were passing out at 90, 110. It was 110 in SoCal the same day it was 110 here. So there was no escape. Holy cow! All right, Missouri. Yeah, I've been to Missouri. I've been to Missouri in the worst ends. I've been to Missouri when it was humid, and I've been to when we call Fort Leonard Wood, Fort Lost in the Woods, when it was snowing for a chemical school. It sucked both ways. All right, so yeah. Even when I was deployed, and even when I went to places, because unlike all the other armed forces, the Army likes to send you to the places that no one wants to go. So if you're going to Italy, you're going to some place in Italy nobody ever heard of. You're not going to Rome. The Air Force sends you to Rome. The Navy sends you to the Naples and the ports and all that. The Army's sending you to bumfuck wherever. But hey, you're in Italy. If you're in any other armed service and you go to Germany, where I was born on Berlin Army Hospital. The other armed services, you're going to Berlin, wow, Munich, all that. If you're in the Army, you're going to a place called Kaiserslautern. They call it K-Town. So but even in K-Town, I found a way to enjoy that. I found a way to enjoy the fact this is where I was born. I have dual citizenship. I still think according to Germany, I'm a citizen of Germany, but I'm obviously a citizen of America. I think when I got my security clearance, I had to give up one. I can't remember. But I am, I was born in Germany. I went to the place. I was born less than 100 feet away from the Berlin Wall, and I watched the Berlin Wall come down as a teenager watching it. And my dad always made sure he watched that was you were literally born, and he would point because you could see it. You could see from where Checkpoint Charlie and all that. You could see our institution. You could see our embassy and all that, and you could see the Berlin army, and it's still there today. He made sure that I saw that. So yeah, and when I was overseas, I mean, on the worst day that I was in the Middle East or on a convoy or all that. There were nights where we looked out and the sky was so clear. It was like, dude, I will never see it like this again when I get back to the States because of the smog and the environmental issues that we have down here. We didn't have those, even though we were in a place that just spit out smoke and oil. We were a couple hundred miles away. We were on a port too, and you just being able to go out to the ocean every night and see it. There were things, like I said, I got pictures that I'll share with you guys maybe on Veterans Day. And you get to meet people that are lifelong friends. I mean, there's a lot of guys on my Facebook page that if I hadn't gotten deployed or if I hadn't joined the military, I would not have met these people. And each and every one of them has made my existence better. So yeah, the worst situations I've ever been from, I've taken something away from them and made something better. And that's just the nature of the military. That's just the nature of running a business. So like I said, I don't think everybody needs to join the military to learn these things, but get out, whatever circle that you're currently in, break out of it a little bit and experiment a little, I mean, you can't, it won't hurt you. All right, guys, let's see where we're at. Yeah. If you're talking about Missouri, yeah. They should expand Blade Runner universe live action. No, they're going to, if you haven't heard the Blade Runner, we did a story on this. Amazon has started producing a Blade Runner. It's called look up Blade Runner 2099, and it's going to have a direct lineage to what we saw, but they are going to expand on it. So it's not just going to be the small little neighborhood that we've dealt with in the previous 2 movies. They're going to expand on the lore, and it's going to be a series. So wow, I cannot wait. I mean, other than Pooh, Blood, and Honey, I've been waiting for this. So all right, there we go. There's my Instagram page. So let's see. All right, thank you, Fourth 1000, for following. Yeah, my Instagram page is it's not just a page for me to show you guys pictures. It is literally an extension. It's these things that I do are an extension of me and how I communicate to you when we're not in front of each other just talking words. I try to give people insight of what the store looks like, what we have, the kind of merchandise we have. Not just that, but the kind of atmosphere they can expect when they come down here, because pictures say 1,000 words. And like I said, when you walk into this place, it could be overwhelming. But when you have a little welcome mat, with the pictures of the merchandise, you may see something appealing that from your childhood. We had some mugs from Batman and Robin, or Batman Forever, the glass mugs from McDonald's we got in the other day. And I swear I posted a picture of those and people just had instant memories of their childhood. So I had a Viewmaster in here, there's a lot of stuff in it. And like I said, it's my life boy out to you guys. So let's see. All right. Yeah. I've been Fort Leonard Wood, St. Roberta. It's nothing there, but yeah. It is, like I said, I didn't think I was being trained. I thought I was being sentenced there because there was no escape. Yeah, I know. I trust me. I knew what you were talking about. I knew exactly what you were talking about. The typos didn't take away from that. I knew exactly where you guys were saying. Okay, should Blade Runner connect to the Alien? No, please, no. I know it's tempting people, but please don't do that. Don't connect Alien to any other franchise. Don't connect Predator to Alien again. Please, for the love of God, do not connect Blade Runner to anything. Just don't do it in the comic book form. Don't do it in the video game form. I don't even want to see hand puppets. No, just don't do it. That's my opinion. So, all right, let's see. Fourth 1000. No, everybody's like, yeah. All right, guys. I think I've done my work here. I have shepherded you across the river Styx. I've taken your ferry, and I have guided you in from September 10th to the 20th anniversary of the terrorist attack. So you're going to see a lot of memorials about that. But today is September 11th. The good news is we're headed into fall. It is the first full scheduled day of NFL football. This is a good time to be alive, to be honest with you. I just had a birthday this last Wednesday. It's my 48th birthday. And I looked at what we've accomplished, just not as a person, but as the Sci-Fi Center in general, what we've done. And I probably did more in the last 13 to 14 months than I did in the last 10, 15 years. I started my own YouTube channel. I became part of a much larger network with Enoch and Point Diction Lounge. I expanded my store at the tail end of the pandemic. I increased our sales. I increased, our capabilities. I increased our merchandise scope. I have gone out and done some things and taken some chances that I kind of been hesitant in previously. To me, I'm having fun at this. So it's a good time to be here. And I know a lot of people call you old and like that. But like I said, when I see people having just as good a time at 50, 60, 70, and 80, I'm nowhere near the end. I think I'm just beginning. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm about to go to a wrestling event tomorrow and act like a complete fool with my 2 championship belts and hang across the front, the ringside rail and just having fun. I walk around town wearing a goofy Shazam shirt with my logo on it, and I'm just having fun. I don't care anymore. I think the first half of my life, I actually gave a shit about how things looked and how things fit in. I give a fuck now. So I am having the time of my life, and I'm going to continue to do so. So we're going to continue on with this. Like I said, as long as these things continue to be fun, I will continue to spend my Saturday nights with you guys and Sunday mornings and any other time. And I will see you at some point tomorrow. For those of you who are going to be watching the Game of Thrones post show, it will not air exactly afterwards because I will be at said wrestling event. So I will not be watching it live. The people that we grouped together will be watching it down there on the big screen with my coworker down there. But I will be watching it after everybody, and then I will give a live spoiler review. I'm guessing around 9 or 10 Pacific time, so keep an eye out for it. So, all right, guys, thank you for coming in. Thank you for this has probably been one of the most intense, deep type of conversations we've had. As far as we covered a lot of ground that I did not expect us to cover. We had a very cordial conversation about race relations and some of the uncomfortable things that we have to deal with and how it intersects with our pop culture, our pop culture universe. And a lot of the stuff that we talked to, like I said, a lot of these things would cause arguments and cause us to be spitting at each other. I'm happy that we were able to have these conversations and kept it civil. And that's the kind of conversations I want to have, especially on this show, especially on this time of the week where the flames have gone down and everybody stopped screaming at each other. So, all right, thank you guys, and stay safe out there.